Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 307. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Johnny V.
Busy. The past, this weekend, just spent a lot of time, organizing the house, getting stuff ready. For those of you that everyone has seen on our little preview, we now have the minis up. I wanted to start maybe with something like SmashBoxxTV is film before a live mini audience or a mini studio audience, something along those lines. Maybe I'll record that and we'll open the show with it.
I think what we need to go along with this, it's a great idea you have here for the minis, but at some level, there probably should be a bobblehead, level as well.
Like a crazy super producer level.
Yeah, exactly.
Like $100.
We just have a whole line of bobbleheads all facing us.
Oh man.
And they may even think we're funny from time to time. We may get them to agree with that.
If I bobble their head, they might laugh at us.
In the right direction, at least.
Only in the right direction.
Thank you guys for joining us. As we said, podcast number 307. Just confirmed a little while ago, so I apologize if the promo was slightly lacking. But just a little while ago, we did confirm Eric McCabe, is going to be coming in hot. Or not so hot, coming in from Alaska tonight. And we're going to be talking to him about what just took place, the property he designed, the course that he designed, I should say, on this incredible property. And I know a lot of the staff and the crew, we have... Doug Bjerkes and Steve Story were, TD, co-TD, assistant TD. So 2 TDs of the year were heading up the event this last weekend. I know they had an event that took place that started at like 11 o'clock at night because in Alaska in the summer you can do that. So they had a flex start that took place. And it just from all of the social media that you may have seen from either EMAC or Denise or one of the shoes or Bjerkes's, of course, Bobby Brown was out there.
Tons of pictures from Bobby that look just gorgeous.
Just absolutely incredible. So really excited to learn more about the property and the event and then what I think we're going to see this move into. And I'll admit it now, and I'll probably say it to EMAC. I may have made the wrong decision to not go to this event. I know it was the inaugural year and all, and they put on a tremendous show.
The good thing is, we've got years to come, hopefully. We don't have to go to the inaugural. We can go to next year's, the year after.
It's straight FOMO. Just straight FOMO, though. And he said it was going to be incredible, and I believe it was all of that and then some. So we will be touching base with EMAC and kind of getting all those updates. Also, of course, we're leading into another Disc Golf Pro Tour stop this upcoming weekend. As you would expect, plenty of hype. Not only is this the place where we saw the incredible round by Paul, but the course itself is highly regarded and revered by so many.
The toboggan course.
The toboggan course, exactly. It's just part of the allure and excitement, I think, about this course is it's only in for a matter of weeks out of the year. There's an incredible amount of prep work that it takes just to have it exist. And it's only there for so many weeks out of the year. Now, typically, it's been there for the United States Amateur Championships. Then it also, for the last few years, is then in play for the Great Lakes Open that we've been seeing on the Pro Tour. And this year, without the Amateur Championships taking place, we're just seeing it this one time this year for the DGLO. And just a lot of hype, a lot of excitement around it, understandably so. Michigan has just so much great disc golf, and I know I say this time and time again. If you travel to Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, you get a lot of...
Don't do it in that order, please.
No. You get a lot of vibes, similar vibes. You get similar courses, you get some World Championship caliber courses. You have in excess of 1,000 courses in those 3 states, just off the top of my head, minimum of 1,000. It might be even closer to 11 or 1,200 by now. You have so much golf to play. Larry Clifford Kirk has probably played most of them now.
Yes.
That's another story. But you have so much golf, and you have so many good people and such enthusiasm. And you can extend that just below those states when you look at Iowa, Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, all of them, certainly credit due there as well. Also very, very big hotbeds for disc golf. But Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, again, very, very similar throughout. And I'm proud to say that as a guy who's played a lot in both Minnesota and Michigan in many years past, I just see a lot of the similarities. So if you like the trees, the hills, the topography, the humidity, the bugs, you get it all. Nice, lush, green grass. There's just so many things that I think we take for granted growing up here playing disc golf where we have, to go to some of the other courses that might be, revered and well known, but
the one that
doesn't
sticks
feel
out.
the same.
I'm going to call someone out here. The one that sticks out in my head is Rosedale in Kansas City. I remember hearing so much about that course, and then showing up, and I was like, this is the course? Like, it's not lush and green. It's kind of rocky, and your discs just get torn up. It's a great course.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember looking at it going like, this is like, and granted, this was almost 20 years ago. But I was just like, wow, this is like, this isn't anything what I thought it was going to be. And because you're right, we grew up and growing up on these beautiful green courses that not everywhere in the country gets. So,
well, it now that most of Kansas City hates you, good job,
fine.
Johnny. No, it's again, you see that as we started in the Southwest,
and
we
you do
venture
what you
around the
can
country, and you
with
go to all these different areas.
your environment.
Of course, we see what different parts of the country offer in terms of the disc golf landscape, and like you just said, we do, obviously all the designers do with what they have to work with. I mean, there's only so much you can do in Arizona. I get it when it comes to lush green grass.
Yeah. It's like people in Kansas, or people that go to Kansas and complain about the lack of trees. It's like, what do you do? You can't make those complaints. Every area has some really unique features, and I also thought it was really cool the first time I went down to Florida and I was playing around palm trees, and they take that for granted. Like, it's just palm trees.
As they're playing year round with really no quams about the weather,
other
or the
than
conditions.
slicing your discs open and gouging them. But
so very awesome stuff. Of course, I feel like, and a lot of people have asked me about what the tour's been doing over these last few weeks. Obviously, having picked back up with the DD Open and then moving into the Preserve, and now we're getting into what would be the meat of the season. I feel like for the most part,
that's putting it mildly.
Yeah, it's back to almost every weekend, either a pro tour or a very large scale event that people are playing. And we're in the thick of the season now. And I don't want to say it feels like we haven't skipped a beat, but I think in the next week or two, everyone's going to be like, yep, this is what disc golf, should be feeling like. Now, that goes hand, that might fly a little bit in the face of spectatorship this weekend, where the last that we had heard, it was confirmed that we were not going to see spectators.
Phase 1.
That we're back to the phase 1 here in Michigan for this weekend. So we will not be seeing the spectators out at the course. So that's going to be one of the downsides. However, the fact that we have disc golf, and the fact that we're watching disc golf on the Pro Tour, the fact that we have feature cards set up for day one. I don't know if you have that graphic handy.
I do.
I wanted to quickly talk about what we're going to see for the feature card this weekend.
I do. For the MPO feature card. You want to talk about MPO or FPO first?
FPO. Women first, man.
Women first. Ladies first. All right. We see Haley King, Paige Pierce, Missy Gannon, and Lisa Fakis. That is a solid card. Lisa Fakis, who just won the Silver Series. We had her on last week. I believe that is technically how maybe she got on the card. I think they're just kind of... It might not be an every event thing if you win the previous Silver Series, but because we're back-to-back, it makes a lot of sense. Missy Gannon, a Discraft-sponsored player, she might be the exemption. I'm not sure. It's her or Haley King, because we have Paige, Haley, and Missy are all Discraft-sponsored players.
This is a Discraft event?
This is a Discraft event. This is the DGLO, which D does not stand for
Disc Golf.
Disc Golf.
Disc Great Lakes Open?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Disc Great Lakes Open, man.
Yeah.
No, it is the Discraft Great Lakes Open. So we've got Lisa as the sole non-Discraft sponsored player. She is sponsored by Innova, of course. But Missy Gannon, who has finished second or third at the last 2 or 3 events. And Paige, who
it's probably last year's champion.
Paige is last year's champion, correct?
If I just had to guess.
Yes.
I feel like that's always a safe bet just to throw out
Just say
there.
that and just
Who's defending champ? Oh, yeah. Probably
Just
Paige.
probably Paige. Just you could say the same thing about Paul, especially at this event.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Haley King. So we have a fantastic FPO feature card. I'm really excited about that. And moving over to the MPO feature card, we have the returning champion. He's going for his 3-peat. That's Paul McBeth. Kelvin Heimberg, who just was he the last DGPT winner? No. Who won our last event? Who won the Preserve? No, that was Nico who won the Preserve.
Yeah, that was Nico.
So Calvin, just because he's Calvin, he's
probably because he's the points leader.
Maybe I don't know. If
We
that
should have
matters.
asked all these questions, but
No, we don't.
didn't.
No, because that would entail us actually paying attention and listening and
Doing
being
research.
active. Then we have Brody Smith, who was the sponsor exemption. I know
Okay.
that for a fact.
Okay.
And Ricky Wysocki, who is our Silver Cup champion.
Okay. Also, co-Lime survivor.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. We have 2 people on this card with Lyme disease.
At least 2.
2 that we know of, yeah. Maybe Calvin or Paul. I don't know, but if so, they haven't made it public. Are you going to say something? Are you going to?
No. I was just thinking about a bad joke. Something about the Coronas and Lyme. And
Okay. No.
I won't go there.
Probably not.
I've made one tasteless joke already today that I don't even feel comfortable repeating. So I think I've exceeded my quota.
When people go back and watch this in the future, because everybody will,
Yeah.
clearly.
These things age so well.
These age so well. The Corona jokes will be much funnier.
Yes.
But right now, probably not the hot button topic we should be jumping on. So there is your MPO lead card.
Oh, it's funny. I wasn't even thinking like Corona. I was thinking more Lyme. But still not funny. So.
Either way.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah.
Flip a coin on that one, Miller.
Yeah, I lose either way.
So
good with that.
Yeah. So that is our lead card. We will see those
feature card.
Sorry, you're right. First round feature card. Thank you very much.
It is such a habit, of course, for everyone, for commentators, for even the players, for the cameramen, everybody. You always, during that first round, once these have been selected, it's always just easy to slip out, the term lead card, when really, of course, there's just various feature cards. So, and then I know we're going to see some other. I was looking at that a little bit earlier today, but I would love to confirm with you, Disc, as to what we're going to see for the other. Production teams, of course, Disc Golf Network there with the live, Jomez Pro, Gatekeeper on MPO Chase card, GK Pro on FPO lead card, feature and lead cards, and then it also shows Alyssa Van Lannen with her AV photography, and then UDisc Live Instagram, and then there'll be some additional Disc Golf Pro Tour Instagram stories and posts as well throughout. So those are all part of the media that you will see this weekend over at the Toboggan. Now, again, because we're not real good at homework, did you hear there were some changes on the course?
I did vaguely hear some things. Now, this is the course infamously last year, I believe, that Paul McBeth was helping set up the course the night before the event started. And there was obviously some kickback there, but good to know that this year the Pro Tour has got there way early. I believe they had the course set up last weekend or this past weekend.
Yep.
So they could do a lot of things like the drone flyovers and just so the players were all prepped. So right away getting this event
off to a good start.
Kicked off to a great start, but I did hear that they might have squeezed a couple of the fairways with some ropes. So I don't know the exact details. As we're not, that's not what we do.
We don't do research.
We don't do research. You guys know that. No, but I had heard they have squeezed some of these fairways with a little bit tighter ropes. I'm excited to see it. It's kind of funny because it's not like I don't feel like we needed it.
Sure,
but I can't say for sure until we see. I mean, Paul did go out there and shoot an 18, so
Yeah, and I think a few of the pars were then adjusted for last year.
And that
I
makes
know
sense.
that's one of the changes.
I think it was
hole
hole 2 or 3 that is no longer par 5. I think it's a par 4 or something. Or is it 4 to 3? Either way, it is. Yeah, it is definitely a change.
Okay. Well, looking forward to it. I've reached out to EMAC, so whenever EMAC is ready and available, if he's he may or may not be out there listening in at the moment, but EMAC, if you're ready and you want to hit us on the Skype, which I don't think kids ever used to say, and I don't think we're going to get them into saying it now, but EMAC's of our generation. He's within a few months of our age, and so if EMAC was an early adopter to the teleconference, video conferencing type world, he'd be down with Skype.
Maybe even before Microsoft bought him. Who knows?
Yeah, I was on board with Skype right away.
As was I.
I wish we got. I mean,
Skype
how close are they to dying? Skype.
They're not at all, because they're being integrated in with Microsoft Teams. It is the back end of the product. Even if it's not called Skype, it's always going to be there behind the Microsoft Teams.
Zoom's not going to take them over.
No.
You heard it here, folks.
No.
Johnny says put all of your stock in Skype right now.
Yes, invest in Skype specifically, not Microsoft, but Skype.
Okay. Yes.
Did you happen to notice last week that they updated the ratings?
I heard that they did, because I see everyone post it,
on the 14th.
And a lot of times, again, ratings hold
0.
Ratings to me are a little different in the sense that I don't care where my personal rating is, so I'm never ambitious to go out and check it. I play so rarely that it doesn't matter one way or another to me.
Well, you dropped 12 points.
Okay, great. Wow.
See?
No, that
right
makes
there.
sense.
Right there, that
does make sense.
Caring.
No. Well, no, it makes sense, because I played in a tournament last weekend in Michigan that we didn't really talk about, but I played in that tournament. I did well, but my ratings weren't that good. And it's funny now that I think about it. It's funny you say 12 points. I literally, I never thought this day would happen.
Was that the Catalpa Open?
Yeah. I went into the final hole of that tournament tied for the lead. And me and another gentleman, Mark, were going back and forth. He struggled a little. It's a legit, long par. Not a long par 4, but a difficult par 4, 500 and some feet, through a tunnel, OB everywhere. And he was struggling to get up to the pin. And at one point, he was laying 4, so the best he could have taken was a 5, a bogey. And I had a 37-footer for birdie for 3. And I actually, because of course I knew where the score was, I actually just threw it right next to the basket.
Wow.
And it, obviously, that's nothing to do with it. In fact, that's the opposite of caring about your rating.
Of course.
I wanted to guarantee that I wasn't going to hit the basket and potentially roll away. And it felt weird doing it, because the only time I've ever really done that is in a match play situation. I laid it up right next to the basket, so I had literally a 3-foot tap in, and that secured the win. And then, it's funny.
Isn't it a weird feeling? I got to do that at the Zobel Open when I got to lay one up.
Huh.
So, bad news for you. Your rating went down.
Dang it.
12 points, Terry
Ouch.
Miller.
What do I have, like 8 rounds on my PDGA rating?
It is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, Terry.
Wow.
But
I'll be a propagator someday.
My rating, Terry, though, went up 6 points.
Wow.
Which is bad news. I am no longer eligible to play Am Master.
Oh my gosh, the problems you face.
The next event. So next year, probably the next time I get a chance to play an event, I don't know if I'll be able to play.
You could come play in the pros.
I will come play, or maybe I'll play advanced. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, enough of this, because we got a world champ hanging out,
what?
ready to join us. And he's going to come in from our Disc Baron Digital Green Room. We're excited to hear. I don't know what day or time of the week it is over there. We'll get that figured out. I think they're a few hours behind us. Welcome to the show, Eric McCabe. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. I'm exhausted. And I'm sure I'm a little echoey because I'm in a weird room, but I hope that's okay.
No, you're clear,
right.
though. You might be echoey, but you're still clear, so that works for us. Let's start at the basics. Like, where are you right now? Exactly.
I am actually still at Meyer Lake. We are, Denise and I stayed. We decided to make a little bit of a vacation out of it and stick around until Saturday. Meanwhile, we dropped the rest of the crew off at the airport at I dropped Steve-O off at the airport about 2 a.m., drove back to Wasilla, and then slept for about 4 hours, and then took the rest of the crew this morning at about 8 a.m. So they should be touching down in Kansas City in about 5 minutes or so. So.
Okay, so let's just do a little geography here. You're just talking about the airport. Tell us where Meyer Lake is, and then what is it? That's about 45 minutes, whatever direction. 45 minutes from the airport.
It's right at about an hour from the airport, pretty much straight north. It's in Wasilla, Alaska. It's kind of in between Wasilla and Palmer. There's a couple little towns just to the north of Anchorage. Kind of follows that river line that runs through here. But yeah, it's about an hour. It's not that bad of a drive at all, to be honest with you. It's pretty easy getting your rental car and hop in and just head north. And the sun is a little crazy, but not as crazy as it is in June. So it actually does get dark this time of year. So that's a little different for us, because every time we've ever come, it's usually in May or June, and the sun's out until 2 or 3 in the morning, which you don't eat dinner out here until about 11 or 12 at night. It's kind of crazy, but no, it's great, man. It's what a great week it's been up here. It's just been phenomenal. Nothing short of phenomenal.
Well, maybe Johnny can pull it up at some point, but I'm going to plug. I get no plugs out of Meyer Lake whatsoever, or compensation, but just their website alone, and as we continue to talk to you, MeyerLake.com, just their website alone makes you want to get there as quickly as possible. Describe the property and describe how this came about for you to be part of this.
Yes. Yeah. This is the property right here. That's the woods I had to trek through for 2.5 weeks designing this course. So it's absolutely beautiful. It's kind of like it's basically a boutique or however you want to call it. It's like a hotel in the middle of nowhere. But there's 5 or 6 cabins that you can rent. There's a couple Airbnbs that you can rent out as well during, normal business days, I guess you would say, as long as they're not rented out or there's not a wedding going on or anything like that. But I got hooked up with these guys. It's kind of a funny story, actually. The 2 gentlemen that kind of run the business, one of them's kind of the owner, investor. The other is kind of like the general manager. And they were down in Homer. I tried to say Nebraska. That's definitely not
Alaska. I can get that.
Technically, I am north of Kansas, so we're good. We're right on there. But no, they were down in Homer, and they were having a few cocktails and just enjoying themselves, right? And they were on the beach and looking for a Frisbee to buy to go play catch with. Well, they go into Play It Again Sports or something like that, and the one disc that they found was an EMAC Truth, which is pretty crazy to think about, and they got it, and they go out and they start playing catch with this thing, not having a clue that it's a golf disc, that it's an actual, golf disc and not a Frisbee. And they were playing catch with it for a while. Then they kind of put it away for a little bit of time. And then they're like, where's that disc? And they went and kind of looked at it a little bit more and did a little bit of research. And then they actually just called me and asked me about disc golf and course design, and brought myself up here. And, the rest is kind of history, as they say. But I don't recall the exact acreage of the property. I want to say it's north of 130 acres.
Okay.
And that's majority of it is raw woods. I mean, this piece of property set with all the woods untouched for 20 or 30 years or something like that. So you can imagine the overgrowth that there was out there that we had to kind of fight our way through.
Yeah, and for those that somehow may not know, you've really dedicated a lot of time and energy and focus these last few years to follow your passion within disc golf, which is course design. Kind of.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't want to say walk us through your entire, course design mantra or model or whatever, but what is it about course design, and then what kind of led you to thinking, well, this is an avenue that I really want to continue to develop and explore?
Sure. Well, I mean, I traveled for many years. I mean, geez, it's been, let's see, 2003, I think, was the first year I actually went on tour. And that would have been the first year of the first NT. That was my first event, which is kind of cool. The Golden State Classic back in 2003, which is crazy. Shout out Stevie Rico.
Yeah.
Getting that W. I planned one day when the sport's really big, to be on a game show somewhere and that be the $1 million question, and I'll have it in my back pocket. So
Steve Rico, yes.
Yeah. So, but no, I traveled for many, many years. Obviously I was pretty successful on the tour. I won a couple majors, including the Worlds a decade ago, almost to the day.
Almost,
a decade
yes.
ago.
Some of those memories just popped up for me. Yep.
You guys were both there. I'll never forget. Johnny was filming the interview on his iPhone, I remember, and it was just fantastic. So, But no, being in Emporia, we've had this opportunity. I kind of got forced into a lot of the course design because we didn't have a clue about hiring someone to come in and do it or anything like that. But that's part of the reason you've probably seen a lot of changes through Emporia over the years. I mean, Peter Pan Park has been redesigned probably 4 or 5 times, and we finally have it to where, we really like it. But I also agree that a quality course design is never done. So it's not like you just go out and design the world's best course and then, well, we're done. Let's move on to the next one. You're always evolving that course, whether it's moving a basket, moving a tee pad, making it a little bit more challenging, or you lose a few trees on the course. Like, I'm sure it's similar in Wisconsin, but up down in Kansas, when you lose a tree, it's kind of a big deal. It's especially those big, huge cottonwood trees that, you can't get your arms around that have been there for 100 years. You plant a new one, you got to wait 20 years for it to be an obstacle. So, we've had to do a lot of tweaking here and there, but that was kind of how I got into course design. And, the Northeast up in the Hollows was one of my first jobs that I went out and did. And that's kind of when I fell in love with it and decided this is what I want to do. And, I've told this story many times, but I get so much more out of course design than I do playing and performing well. So, let's say I would go to D-Glow this weekend and win D-Glow. Cool, awesome, props to me. That's awesome. That's such an achievement. But guess what? Nobody cares. The next year, it doesn't matter. Nobody will really remember who wins that event from time to time, unless it's a world title or a big major or something along those lines. Obviously, no disrespect to D-Glow. It's one of the biggest events and one of the best events out there on one of the best courses as well. But, some of these smaller tour events that people win, it's just, I feel like putting a course in the ground, someone can enjoy that for many years to come, as opposed to me going out and just getting a W and performing well at an event, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's part about what, drives you and your passion, and we'll play a pun on Steve Rico. It's your part of your what you believe is your legacy, and having something that's maybe a little bit more permanent or long-standing as part of what you've accomplished, and the joy and satisfaction, and it's truly selfless in that way. Literally thousands or millions of people may enjoy a round at Meyer Lake or any other course that you design, and you understand more fulfillment out of that than winning a big tournament, and that's absolutely admirable.
I did come out of retirement this week.
I saw.
I didn't play the big event because I kind of wanted to walk around and kind of talk to people and see how they enjoyed the property, the course, and just kind of be there for support. But I did play we had a Flex Start C tier on Friday night. It was Battle Under the Midnight Sun. And I did end up playing that, and that was my first round for over a year, like sanctioned, like PDGA round in over a year. So it felt good to get back out there and play a little bit. But at the end of that round, I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to play tomorrow. There's just I'm getting north of that level of, hey, let's play 2 rounds in a couple days. I don't know, man. I haven't been playing enough to be stressed out and loose and ready for that. That's for sure.
Come on, McCrae's got like a decade on you. He's out there killing it. I mean,
God. He does. Yeah, that's hey, props to Johnny, man. That guy's a beast. He'll never quit. That guy will just continue to grind and be one of the top performers in our sport for sure.
So you first of all, I if I recall, I think I saw you take second in that one round outing. Now that leads me to my next question, which is, how did the course play for everyone else and for yourself? You officially had a competitive round on it, with other solid players. How did the course and the ratings and the pars, how did that shake out? Because I'm sure you've done a little analyzing of that. Maybe you haven't, got out your abacus yet, but I'm sure you've kind of inspected to see what it looks like at the end of the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. We've kind of, I have a meeting tomorrow with one of the owners to kind of walk through the course and get the final design done, as far as removing a few more trees, because we didn't quite get to all the tree removal that we wanted. I think there was 3 or 4 tee pads that actually didn't get installed that we wanted to get installed. A lot of that was due to the last month was nothing but rain up here. So trying to get heavy equipment into the woods is next to impossible. And so we're basically going to go through and mark a few more trees to come out. But there was a few holes that I'm tweaking for sure. There's a couple holes that played definitely like a par 4 as opposed to maybe a par 3 that we had, and vice versa. So the par was kind of close. So our original idea was or the original plan rather, was to play, because we have 2 sets of tees and 2 pin placements, was to play shorts to longs or longs to shorts, whatever the case may be for what division you're playing. But when we got here and noticed that there's a little bit more work to do, we kind of just rolled our sleeves up and went to work. Everybody that was here that Meyer Lake brought out, we were pouring concrete ground sleeves on Wednesday morning, if that tells you where we were at. We had probably 5 holes that we had to pour that morning, and it was pretty cool to see Paige Shue out there carrying 5-gallon buckets of concrete to the mixer to get mixed up and get poured in a hole. So, we really came together and got the course ready to go, and we ended up just playing one layout, which was kind of a good mix of holes. So, a few long tees, a few short tees, long pins, and all that. So, but I thought the course played pretty well for the most part. Couple tweaks here and there, and obviously it's going to be that way. You guys know what it's like to play a brand new course in the woods too. And it takes time. It really does take time to beat in a course. And we didn't have that luxury out here, but I know Terry's been up here before, to Alaska at least. I don't know if you've been out here yet or not, but it's a different animal out here. The courses are quite a bit more rugged, a little more rough around the edges. They just don't have the municipality to come out and maintain like we do everywhere else, or the foot traffic even, And, that being said, this event that we hosted it's kind of funny. Friday night, the C tier, the Flex Start C tier that we ran was the largest PDJ sanctioned round in Alaska history. We broke that record, and then we broke it again the next day for the Meyer Lake Classic, which is just pretty cool. The only reason that happened is because we were able to do tee times as opposed to 2 rounds a day. And I do really feel a lot of people really enjoyed that aspect of it. Of tee times not starting till noon. Was the first tee time of the day was at noon. And I think the last tee time went off at like 5:30 or something like that. So plenty of daylight out here to get through all that, which is awesome. But just there's so much more room to grow. If you think about in the future, you can run tee times from 8 a.m. to 5:30, 6 p.m. Think about how many people you can get through a course in that span of time. So, but we rolled out the red carpet for everybody up here. We gave a pretty cool player pack and actually announced everybody on the first hole, something that we're kind of known for doing, and majority of the players up here had never had that experience. So that was really cool to kind of offer that and let them feel like, hey, this is pretty cool, and as far as the competitive rounds go, I thought it was great. MPO came down to 1 stroke. FPO went to a playoff that was involved with 2 ladies that some people probably would have lost a little bit of money on that weekend if they were putting money down on who was probably going to win the event. But it was great. And Masters, even the MP40 division, there was a comeback. I think Brock had like a 3 or 4 stroke lead going into that round, and just got caught and passed. And spoiler alert, but I'm sorry. So yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. The course played exactly how I was hoping it would. And it's one of those things that's only going to get better as time goes on.
Yeah. What I guess before we get into it, we'll touch on it. Well, let's just touch on real quickly on a few results. As you were just kind of referencing, David Weaver came out as your champion, which, like you said, may surprise a few that he got past not only Mason Yamada, but also Grady Shue, who was your highest rated player there out of any division. Shea Nasty.
By quite a few.
Yeah, correct. Yep. Shea Nasty Stewart, who I met and saw a few years ago, super charismatic woman up there. She came out on top of the FPO field when it was all said. She tied with Chelsea Ward, who you had kind of referenced, and both of them with a little bit of an upset over our 2018 world champion Paige Shue, who took third. Eden had taken first, which I know what kind of a stud he is up there, and he's watched him perform very well a few years ago. Killian in advanced had taken first, and Mary Dempsey in advanced women. Elijah Martin, who I think was on the board, he said right now. He said he drove 5.5 hours and
played it blind.
Okay. Came out on top there. Elijah, nice work. Renee Woodard's your champion. Scott Foster, Kyle Deck, Chris Myers, and Alexandria Mitchell, all your champions. And as I'm reading through all of those, you just mentioned about the sanctioning and the amount of people. That's 114 players that were there, and at least a half dozen, maybe 8 divisions or so represented. What's your takeaway from the Alaska disc golf scene? And then how many people were from outside of Alaska, if you had to guess?
Probably maybe 25%, maybe around 25 players, I think, came from. It's pretty crazy. The majority of the people from the lower 48 that came up were from North Carolina or Texas, were the two kind of big states that people came up from, which was pretty cool to see. I know there's a huge group of people from DFW that came out to play the event. And I think a lot of that is just people are jonesing to get out. And, when tickets were able to be purchased, they were pretty cheap. I talked to a guy from Dallas that told me he bought his round trip tickets for $399 round trip from Dallas. And it was a direct flight. Yeah. So, that's huge right there. If you can get up here for $400, geez, why wouldn't you?
Stop rubbing it in, because when I looked out of Chicago, I could have went round trip for $234, and that's when I almost pulled the trigger. And
you should.
I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I know. So obviously a huge local turnout. And what was the reception of the course? Obviously your heart and soul into it. These guys are going to continue to develop it, but what was the overall reception of the course?
From everybody that I spoke to now, I know a lot of people may not be 100% upfront and honest with the course designer or myself, but everybody that I talked to or that mentioned anything to Doug or Steve-O or any of the crew said that, they absolutely loved it. It's something that they need in the area, and they see the potential. That's the big thing, that they see the potential. Now, this course will be a pay-to-play style of course, which is kind of new to the area. There's not a whole lot of that up here, but a lot of people were kind of turned back by, I got to pay to come out and play this course. But, it was explained to them that, you have to have some sort of money coming in for a course like this to be able to maintain it. And that is the plan, is to maintain this course with, weed whacking fairways. And I don't know if you saw any of the pictures that have been posted, but around a lot of those tees in the woods, there's already grass seed growing up from the tee pads that are put in, towards the end of last year. So the plan is to go through when everything's completely done and throw that same seed down throughout the whole course. So in hopes to have some nice green fairways throughout this whole thing that they can mow down and maintain. But for the most part, yeah, I think the biggest complaint of the course was probably the mosquitoes. And, aside from putting a dome on the property, I don't think there's anything we can really do about that. So,
Yeah, you're not fumigating that probably size of area. Yeah. So the course,
exactly.
The course itself, what what can we expect from the future of this course? Is this going to stay? You said long pins to long tees. Are you looking at expanding it? Is this going to be a quote-unquote championship caliber course? Are we looking at maybe an NT or a Pro Tour event there in the future? Or is this a course that is just going to be like, hey, this is the course that it is now. We'll tweak it. We'll adjust it. Or the land even. Are we looking at another course up here on this land? What are we thinking?
I don't think that we have the room for 18 more holes up on the property at all. We used a lot of it. Now, out of all those acreage, you got to realize there's like a 30-acre pond, the lake on it that's out here. So it's a pretty good sized lake, and the cabins and all that good stuff, the parking area and all that. But when I said that there's 2 tees and 2 pins on every hole, there's physically 2 pins on every hole. There's a blue veteran and there's a white veteran as well. So see, look at that right there, mosquito already coming in. So no, there's 2 pins on every hole, and that's the beauty of it. The shorts are, I wouldn't say quite beginner friendly, but I would say it's probably that intermediate level of play. And so that's kind of the cool part of it. If you want to come out and enjoy a quick round, you can do that. Or if you want to come out with someone who's kind of more well skilled in the game, they can play long to long, and long to long is definitely a championship level course when it's all said and done. When we get the rest of the tees poured, like I said, I think we got 3 or 4 more tees to go. But and one of the reasons that they didn't get to all of those is they're actually building these tees up and elevating them and putting walls around them and landscaping the crap out of them and just making them look fantastic. One of the guys out here that's doing all the work, his name's TJ, and he used to be a landscaper. I believe he was a landscaper at a golf course here, so he kind of understands the sport of golf. And really has a view for it and an eye for it. And he actually walked the property with me 2 years ago when I was out here, and he's one of the ones that I showed it to, and he was just so excited about this project. And he doesn't even play disc golf, so that's kind of cool. He put his heart into this course for sure. And I actually gave him an award for, like, I think we called it the Dynamic Award, the most valuable excavator, because he has his own excavator that he brought out into the woods and just tore everything down and is out there building everything from like sun up to sundown almost, which, if it's about 13, 14 hours out here. So
has a whole new meaning.
Yes, exactly. It's pretty impressive, the work that he's put into this course. And this particular week right now, he took this week off, which is much needed, and they're going to get back at it next week and kind of shut the course down until they're finalized with. As soon as they're ready to open the doors, they'll make that announcement, and it'll be open for pay to play. And I honestly, I cannot wait. I'm still here, and I can't wait to come back. It's that magical of a place. Like talking about, let's just come here for the summers and spend 3 months up here, and just kind of just play this course all the time. That would be an absolute dream of mine for sure.
And so also pro tip, everyone, if you want the way to Emacs heart, have your own excavator. I mean, if there's a way exactly. you want to get in good with a course designer. So to That's touch right. on, and I see Johnny V's just, I think, pulled it up via UDisc, our friends over there. Looks like, do I see that when it's pay to play, it'll be $12 as the pay to play.
$12 a day. So once you pay, you can play as many times as you want.
Okay. And then first question would be, is there going to be any kind of a seasonal pass or a family type pass or something like that they can do? And then the follow up to that is, and UDisc might show us, what's the next closest course? So if someone's going there to vacation or to hang out to make this a destination, what's the next closest course that you can that you either know about or recommend?
Yep. So yes, it will be $12 a day, and there will be some sort of. It's a country club, is what this place really is. It's a true country club. So yes, there will be a yearly pass that you can purchase, and we haven't finalized on a number with that yet. We're going to sit down and discuss and see what makes the most sense. Because, I mean, obviously, it's not going to be a course you could just go to in the middle of December and play, probably, because it's, how winter is up here. But we'll sit down and figure out that number. But as far as a course that's close, there is a little 18-hole course about 3 or 4 miles from here, La Contra or something, I believe is what it's called. It's at a school, and it's a fun little track. It's nothing that's like, honestly, it's nothing to write home about. I mean, it's pretty rough around the edges and pretty much pitch and putt, and baskets from 1972. But it's great. It's fun. It definitely gets you out and throwing and everything. But as far as courses that I've played that are close, I guess you could say, would be Kincaid. Kincaid is definitely one of our favorites to go play whenever we're in the area. And so yeah, those about 45 to an hour from here. But yeah, as far as this property goes, it's just, you're seeing some pictures now, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah. Is it hard to contain your excitement when you're brought onto this piece of property? You're looking at overhead maps. You're probably getting maybe driven around in a four-wheeler or something of that nature when you get there, and you're surveying the property. Like, what are some of the emotions and excitement, or just emotions, that are going through you, including excitement, probably?
Sure. Now, when I was here 2 years ago, it was definitely, this is fantastic. Like, the potential is all here. And we didn't make it out here last year. Actually, we were supposed to come, and then some things came up and we weren't able to make it out. But when we came out this year, about a month and a half ago or so, we made the trip out just to make sure everything's on pace. The fairways had all been cut, and we're checking things out. And that was a very, very emotional time, because I could actually see the fairways that I had originally talked about, and a couple new cool potential holes, where the excavator had to kind of make its way through by going around a hill or building its own little hill, and being able to tweak some things at that time is absolutely beneficial. After the excavator's been through the woods and tore everything out, that's the perfect time to go in there and make sure that everything is where you want it to be. Because you can make those small tweaks if you want. You can push a basket over a little bit further, or go a little longer than you originally had wanted to. But a lot of emotions, a lot of positivity. It's almost like you get goosebumps walking onto this property, for sure. You absolutely do. Just driving onto the property. I mean, you drive through this big, huge metal gate with the big Meyer Lake logo on it that was installed this morning or late last night. That's brand new to the property, and it's this like mile or mile and a half gravel road that you drive down, and then you come over the hill, and boom, there it is. You suddenly see the lake, and it's just like, wow, we're here. This is gonna be sick. So hole number one, I'm sure you guys have seen the pictures of the Meyer Lake logo on hole number one, which is just pretty freaking cool. The TJ, the guy I had mentioned earlier, was he just showed up and did that one day. He didn't ask anybody. He just wanted to add something to the course, some type of landscaping, and that's what it was. It was a big Meyer Lake logo. It's pretty cool. I got a pretty cool drone shot, actually, of Denise throwing that shot during her round. And it was up high enough that, you don't really hear it, but you can make out the M and the ML logo, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, just those touches, like you said, when you have somebody like TJ that has the tools, the resources, the knowledge, the excitement, where he has a pride in what he's doing and what that property then is going to show to everyone. You're just so blessed, as you know, when you have someone like him. And I've been blessed a couple of times to have those types of people on site that really can add that polish that you get nowhere else.
Which hole number is the one where you play off the dock?
That's hole 17.
Okay, so the gentleman in your Instagram photo who fell in the water only had one more hole to go after that?
And that was during doubles.
Oh, okay.
So that wasn't during the actual round. That was during doubles. But he was such a good sport, and he was laughing and having a fantastic time. And
a little too much of a fantastic time?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
He was enjoying some high quality Alaskan H2O.
Okay.
But no, what you don't see in the video is he just walked backwards too far and fell right off. And he came up with both of his discs, but he did not come up with his glasses.
Oh.
So he lost the bottom, and then he came up, and then they were both kind of staring. Denise was on the kayak next to me, actually, and kind of zoomed right over there to make sure everything was all right. And they were looking down, and she took the oars to see if she could reach the bottom where the glasses were. And it was too deep. It was probably 8 foot deep right there. And he said, whatever, and just dove right back into the bottom and came back up like 4 or 5 seconds later with his glasses, got on the dock, and smiling ear to ear, went on to the next hole. And yeah, it was great. It was funny. He actually, after he got up on the dock and threw his shot, he missed that ace by probably no more than a couple feet. So how cool would that have been to fall off and then jump up and then just hit the ace? So yeah, it's pretty cool. The dock hole is pretty cool. That was one thing when I talked to the two owners. They go, one thing I want you to do, you do what you got to do on this course, but we want a shot from the water. So, it made the most sense to put it right there in that area. It's a shorter hole. I mean, it's a hole that you should birdie. It's probably a borderline par 2, to be honest with you, but there's just something about walking out on that dock and throwing that shot. It's just kind of a surreal feeling, to be honest.
Now, and I know you talked business partners and you've had this great relationship. Do you feel like they're truly prepared and for the onslaught, hopefully the onslaught of new visitors and patrons they're going to have there? I mean, this is clearly it's a great course, well designed, well thought out, dual tees, dual pins, amazing topography, landscaping. People are going to put this now on their official bucket list. Alaska's already on your bucket list. Disc golf in Alaska. Now, that moves to the top to this property. Yep. Are they ready for it? Are they fully anticipating? And how do you carefully sell it but not oversell it? And
Sure.
what were some of those conversations like?
Sure. No, we had plenty of conversations about that. About is what's the right price for disc golfers to come out and play the property. And one positive thing, Mike is one of the owners as well, and he's a disc golfer now. He has been for a couple of years, so he actually goes and plays some leagues in the area. And one thing that they're talking about doing is they have an every other league at the Contra course that I referenced earlier. So every other week they're going to go back and forth between there and here is kind of the plan in the future, to have a league out here and have the kitchen open and potentially serve food and have just snacks and everything like that ready. But as far as being ready for that kind of clientele, yeah, they're absolutely ready for that. They had a fantastic time this weekend meeting everybody and all the disc golfers, and they know what to expect with it. It is more of a country club kind of atmosphere on the course, so it's going to be potential dress codes, like we want you guys to look good. We don't want you to show up without a shirt on, that kind of stuff. And there's, if you don't feel comfortable paying for that $12 or you don't like to wear a shirt when you play disc golf, then maybe this place isn't for you, and that's perfectly fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I think that they're ready for it. I mean, they had 30, 40, I'm going to butcher the number, but they had so many weddings here last year throughout the year. And obviously with COVID going on, it's slowed way down, not having big parties and weddings and all that good stuff here. So it's slowed down a little bit, and having more and more disc golfers in is going to be very, very beneficial for the property and really just the disc golf scene in Alaska. It's just gonna grow so big here, and the locals. I'm a little jealous of the locals that are within a couple-hour drive of this place for sure.
Well, and again, I just keep thinking of these destinations, and when Alaska's on your bucket list, and now every disc golfer that comes to Alaska, this clearly is going to be one of the first places they're going to bookmark, and then they'll probably venture out from there. And that may even spark or lead to the property 10 minutes away, 20 minutes away, 40 minutes away. Somebody, just like you mentioned, someone comes over, gets hooked on league night, finds out about it, is friends with one of the owners or TJ or someone, and then realizes, hey, we've got 77 acres. We can put in an 18-hole course in here. And I think there's just so much to be said when it's done right and it's done professionally, like I'm sure you've done, that will just breed spark other good ideas. Just like bad courses tend to breed other bad courses. when you set a
Yep.
new tone and a new standard up there, it opens the eyes and the doors for so many other people.
It absolutely does. And this event, I mean, we pretty much brought the A game for this event. I mean, we had the TDs were Doug and Steve-O, back-to-back tournament directors of the year. Both of those guys were here. We had Bobby up here doing media. We had, as I like to call him, DJ Weekly, Anthony Vander something was up here doing media as well. We had Noemi came. We had Paige here. We had Denise here. So we really did bring the A game up to really put on this event and make sure that it went off without a hitch in the first year, and just to run a quality event for these guys. I mean, they deserve it. They've put in their time up here, and it's pretty cool. I love working with Doug and Steve-O. Those guys really raised the bar, and I knew they would kill it. I mean, it's obvious that they're going to kill it. And it was a fantastic week. We really wish you could have been here, Terry.
Yeah, I saw the trophies, the obelisk, which looked beautiful. Yep. Just all of the amazing things. And DD, you guys pride yourselves, as you should, for putting on phenomenal events, and I see this as no exception whatsoever. When I think about future events, do you see yourself or them doing an AM weekend leading into a pro weekend, or vice versa? Getting people to stay there for the whole week, that kind of thing. Like, how do you envision, the next year or two of this event growing and evolving?
I'm assuming the next few years at least, or the next 2 to 3 years, are probably going to be pro and am, a pro am weekend still.
Sure.
Because, like I mentioned earlier, as long as you can run tee times from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., I mean, you can fit so many people in there. And if you have two quality TVs coming out, like a Doug and a Steve-O, they could almost take shifts, and then one of them could do all the AMs and the other could move over and do the pros. You could almost do that in one weekend, So, the plan is to continue moving it and building it. And with the unfortunate news of King of the Hill kind of going away, the property getting sold and that event being pulled, this area really needs an A tier. So I think our goal is to kind of push forward and try to get an A tier on the property first and foremost, and then look at moving into, how cool would it be to have an NT or a Disc Golf Pro Tour event up here, or even a major like a U.S. Women's or a
U.S. Masters. Yeah,
anything would be awesome to have up here. And the reason I say U.S. Women's is because of Doug. He's well known for running quality women's events, and there was so many women at this event. I mean, there was, I think, 11 FPOs or something like that, and that's pretty rare for even down in the States for just a small B tier. So I say down in the States, you know what I mean. But it definitely feels like you're in a different country when you're up here. But no, it's great. So we're definitely looking to do bigger and better things. I mean, the 2-day B tier format worked out really well for this first event, just to kind of get things rolling, and we're not stopping anytime soon. That's for sure.
Yeah, you said 11 pro women, and then as I scroll down a little bit, 4 advanced women, 1 amateur masters woman in Renee, and then 1 junior girl, 10 and under. So, that's almost 20 women out of your 114 person field is certainly impressive to see that for sure. And again, that's a lot of, so to speak, locals. Once you bring in more people that are coming from the lower states or those other states, we'll hopefully continue. And then so much versatility when you talk about the pin positions and thinking about being able to accommodate for so many different divisions. You could literally have your MPO play, the tips, long tees to long baskets. Meanwhile, you could have intermediates playing, some to the short tees, some to the, short pins, some to the long pins. Like, you just have so much flexibility. Once you get all the logistics laid out, you have so much flexibility to accommodate so many skill levels. I think that's awesome. Yeah, exactly.
And then the lake being right there for after your round to go play on if you want was kind of cool to watch some of the players pull out the paddle boards and the pedal boats and the kayaks. And they try to, I guess they started a new tradition where Shanasty, and the FPO. All three winners really. The FPO, MPO, David Weaver, and Kyle Deck Intermediate all did a cannonball plunge at the end after the awards. Or technically, we didn't do an awards because of everything going on. We just kind of presented the award after they finished. But they all stuck around, and they all did a cannonball off the dock when it was all said and done. So looks like we have another new tradition at our tournament as well, where people are going to start doing cannonballs into the water.
I mean, if there's water near the final hole,
It's just
Yeah.
it's a given.
yeah.
Well, there's not even where everyone thinks this kind of started was Maple Hill. The water's not even near the final hole. You have to walk.
No, but
However, but when that tradition all started was Kevin McCoy, who started that tradition when
After
it
a
ended in a playoff,
playoff.
I believe,
Yeah.
hole number 1. So that's
Correct.
kind of where that stemmed from. But as long as we can keep people from jumping into the country club lake, I think we'll be fine. I don't think you want to get in that water. You may jump in with a shirt on and come out without one, so you just never know. So
Yeah, and 3 geese attacking you.
yeah,
Yes.
something like that.
exactly.
So you're going to spend probably some much needed vacation time relaxing. You said most of the crew was starting to come back today, or has maybe just recently even landed. What are you up there for another week or so? What's your plan? You and Denise, I assume.
Yeah, we're here till Saturday, and our plan is to just kind of get out and see some things and kind of relax. Yesterday was kind of our Monday fun day, where we took everybody to the glacier and walked on it, just about an hour and a half north of here or so. So that was a really cool experience, getting to do all that with the guys. And our plan is, we have some options: either kayak to a glacier, ATV ride to a glacier, or horseback riding, possibly go fishing. We did go fishing earlier last week as well. So there's just so many options, and who knows, I'll be just as happy if we just sit on the dock or the beach or in the kayaks at Meyer Lake. I'll be just as happy with that because it's 70 degrees outside, and so I'm okay with that, and it was a warm day. It was a warm 70 today. So, it's been hovering around the 60s. So it's been nice to have a light jacket on. I don't even remember what it was like to wear one. So it's nice to put on a little layers and go outside and really enjoy it.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed from some of the photos is like, wow, yeah, these guys are in the temperatures that require, either long pants or a light jacket, like you said, or a sweatshirt,
Yep.
from time to time. And coming from Kansas to then go up there, I'm sure that reprieve feels nice every once in a while.
It absolutely does. And obviously a lot of that longer apparel is kind of helps get the bugs away too. Keep the mosquitoes away from you, because they are throughout the day, throughout the afternoon, they're really not that bad. They're very tolerable. But if I went out in the woods right now, it's 7 p.m. here. So if I went out and played around right now, like we did last night, let's see, we started around at 9 p.m. last night, and it was pretty bad. So
Okay.
they're definitely thicker as the night goes on.
Now, in the success that you've had up there, the property, it's going to continue to get talked about and probably shared and discussed among property owners up there. Have there been any conversations yet? Has Mike or anyone else said, hey, I really need you to meet so-and-so? They're looking into disc golf. Have you had made any of those connections yet?
None of those connections just yet, but I would definitely see that happening at some point. Like I said, the first round on this course was on Wednesday afternoon, so that kind of tells you how fresh the course still is, and we've got to give it some time for play and spread the word on the property and how successful it's going to be. But I can definitely foresee getting a couple more designs in the local area or even anywhere throughout the state, just off of connections that Mike and Steve have.
Well, so what's the pro shop going to look like? Are they going to be a fully outfitted? Is it going to be the largest concentration of disc golf equipment in all of Alaska up there?
Alaska.
But it sure seems like it should be, right? I mean, come on. So this week they had a few discs for sale in the pro shop that I believe they sold out of. But they did order some nice apparel, some jackets, long sleeve shirts, a couple polos, that kind of thing. But the plan is to, yes, have a full functioning pro shop with, starting out with basically just all of our discs to start with, and then as the demand rises, obviously we'll put some more other plastic in there as well. But for the most part, right now we're going to just kind of focus on getting them everything that they need, and some cool shirts and apparel and towels and all that fun stuff. But for the most part, I'm just excited to have people come out and play the course, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I'll be excited to see how they, again, work into that pro shop mentality, hosting leagues, hosting other things that are happening out there, just the commerce that then takes place, and the people that are going to want to go out of their way to play the course. But then we all know it, all three of us. You go to a unique course, and you may not need a disc, but you just being in the pro shop, you want to buy something.
You want something with that cool logo to say that you were there. It's memorabilia.
Yep, that's how it used to be for us. Every event I would go to, if they had a disc, I would probably be buying it for the wall. Or, I can't imagine how many boxes in the garage I have right now of those old discs, but I need to go through that at some point, probably.
So, fast forwarding just a little bit past your what will be hopefully an amazing week up there. What's next for you? I mean, this year's obviously been all over the place. In terms of events, and we'll talk a little bit about the DD Open and CBS. I got a question or two that came in off the board, but what else do you see, over the next few weeks or next few months in terms of you and DD and things that you have in the works?
Sure. I'm about to be busy. We'll say that for sure. I go home Saturday, and I think I'm home for about a week, and then I start to head out to the Northeast. There's another property I'm looking at in New Hampshire for another course just east of the Hollows, not terribly far from there, so a third course up there. And then I come home, and then I fly to the Pacific. I come home for a week, and then I fly to the Pacific Northwest to look at another property for more of a beginner-friendly style course, which, for the record, I think is just as, if not more important than installing these big championship level courses. Because if you go to Emporia, Kansas and try to play the most popular course in town, it's Hammond Park. It's that little 9-holer right by the college. That's the one that you can always find people playing. So those little 9-hole and 18-hole pitch and putts are just as important for the sport's growth as these big championship awesome courses that everybody wants to get out and play. So I thoroughly enjoy putting those courses in as well. So on the docket through like September, I probably have 3 or 4 courses that are kind of in a row ready for me to get out to and start my design process on. And obviously in the mix in there, assuming we can still host this event, because who knows what's going to happen. I mean, the world could shut down tomorrow. We really just have no idea, but I want to say it's August 14th. I'll be down at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas or Arlington for the disc golf experience there at the Cowboy Stadium, if that's what you want to call it. But it's AT&T Stadium. It'll be our 4th time going down there and hosting this event, and I think we already have a couple hundred people signed up for it. So if you're in the area or you want to go check out Jerry's World, definitely check that event out and come down and play it. It's always a phenomenal time. I know that there's going to be some regulations. I believe it's going to be mask mandatory at the event, at least as of right now. Who knows what's going to happen in another month. But I'm really looking forward to getting back down to that one. That was always one of my favorite stadiums to do, not because of the Cowboys. Obviously, because right here, but it's always super hot, and Jerry likes to keep his thermostat right around 72, and that's the entire building. So it's always nice and cool in there when we're working. So that might be. I don't know what else is going on that weekend. I think maybe Idlewild might be that same weekend.
Maybe Ledgestone. I think that might be Ledgestone weekend.
Yeah, maybe it is Ledgestone. I think that is Ledgestone. So obviously, we're not trying to step on toes by any means. This event is more for Cowboys fans and fans of. We're not trying to get touring players to AT&T Stadium. Is basically what I'm getting at. So that's kind of my next few months in a nutshell, and it's not slowing down anytime soon, which is kind of how I like it, actually. So.
Yeah, and the fact that we can get back to working hard, working, week in and week out, doing what all of us love doing is actually a really good thing, I think, for everyone. Now, understandably, a few more questions came in off the board, and
Sure.
I know you were kind of part of the behind the scenes, maybe not signing all the contracts yourself. You leave that to Mr. Rusko there, but
Mr. Happy Birthday.
Oh,
Jeremy
today
Russell.
is it? Oh, I did not know that.
Today, yep.
Okay, happy
So-
birthday. Happy birthday, Jeremy. People, is there anything else you can elaborate on maybe that hasn't been said about the DD Open, the CBS deal, maybe even just your thoughts on it, knowing that we're, in your hometown, things played out right there with your company, of DD and all that other stuff. What was kind of your take on it?
It was really hush hush throughout everything. Like I remember Jeremy talking to me about it, telling me about the scenarios and how everything was going to go down and all that. But I didn't really know all the fine details, and I actually still don't know all of the details because I've been gone and just been busy with other things. But from what I gather, I'm excited. I'm very excited as a kid growing up watching sports on TV. That's what we dream, I mean, that's when I first started playing disc golf. I thought, man, this was what, 98, maybe around 1998. I'm like, man, just wait till disc golf's on TV. And, here we are, how many years later, and it's finally potentially happening. I mean, that's really cool. But no, I think it's great. And it was a little disheartening and frustrating to read some of the really negative comments about all the stuff like, oh, you're taking my free disc golf away, this, that, and the other. And sure, dude, look, I get it. I understand that. Jomez is great. Having that next day coverage is phenomenal. But one, Disc Golf Pro Tour decided to let everybody watch it for free live on YouTube. So there was that. And then two, the DD Open wasn't ever an event that was on the schedule. It was a bonus event. It was an event that Jomez didn't promise anybody that they're giving next day coverage to. So, there's kind of that side of things that is really frustrating. And guess what? If it doesn't work, no harm, no foul. We can go on and try the next thing to grow the sport. But I do truly believe that it's going to open up some eyes to potential golf courses that are struggling, that are out there struggling to stay open, so they don't have to close doors and not become a park, but become a community. Like, people are going to start building apartments on these things. And I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather see a disc golf course, even if it's long open bombers, that's still growing the sport, putting courses in the ground and helping getting eyes on the sport. And who knows, maybe the next best player in the world sees that on TV. I mean, there's just so many positives and very, very few negatives in my eyes. Of course, I'm a little biased on the topic, obviously, because it's my company that's kind of stepping up and kind of having
footing the bill.
And floating the bill, like throwing the money down on the table to say, hey, let's make this happen. So, it is. We'll find out in about a month, it sounds like, how successful it is or what it's going to be like. But I do know that Jomez does phenomenal work, and they're going to edit those videos. And I think one of the most fun things I'm looking forward to watching through all that is the skins match that took place on that Monday of DD Open, the day after the event. And I was fortunate enough to be able to be there and watch the outcome. And it was fun to watch. I know Terry was there as well. And it was really cool to get an idea of what's coming up. So,
yeah. And I feel like the skins match specifically was probably almost, I'll say the most secret. It was just something that not a lot of people knew necessarily. Of course, the people involved in some behind the scenes stuff, but I think the skins match probably, even because people know the results of the event, they could watch it live, all of that other stuff. But with the skins match specifically, I think, that's kind of the biggest element of surprise that remains. And I think
it's been a hush. Nobody really has talked about who won the skins or what team won or what team didn't win or anything like that. And that's kind of cool. There's kind of your wow factor on getting to watch a live sporting event on TV and not know the outcome.
Yeah, and of course we primarily do live. We here at Smashbox. I do post-production, and we have a bunch of other post-production teams, and I don't care who you are, there is an excitement level to see what Joe Mez and that massive 19 or 29-person team, whatever it was, what they have put together, and to watch them interact with CBS and to know what it really takes to have a broadcast-ready product, final product. I think just alone, that's inspiring to me as someone who makes videos to see how that's going to unfold. Just the translation from YouTube to CPS.
I'm hoping we can get Jonathan on when that airs, so he can talk about the whole process of all the cameras and the editors and the graphics and everything that was involved with that. And because not only do I want to know personally, but all the people behind the scenes that deserve a big shout out when this thing airs.
Absolutely. That's a must. You guys have to have him on the show, whatever it takes.
Yeah. So, clearly everyone is excited for it, but nobody knows an official date yet. Is that a fair statement?
That is correct.
Come on, spill the beans. Give us a date. Tell us.
Here you go. August.
Dang you.
It's happening in August. And you had mentioned the skins match being hush hush and all that. Obviously it wasn't because we didn't want people to know. It was we didn't sign the contracts or the official contract until what was that, Wednesday?
Yeah, or Thursday or something.
Yeah, it was
late.
It was last minute thing that we finally got everything finalized, and obviously if that would have fallen through, it wouldn't have been the end of the world because we could have just done normal next day type of coverage. But I'm excited that it happened, and I'm very excited to see the outcome, see the finished product. I'm really excited for that for sure.
Yeah, and just to quickly touch on that, because I think I also see a few messages. I believe that shortly after it's released on CBS, or it airs on CBS is a better way to word that, I believe Joe Mez is also then going to be able to put their own copy probably on their own channel. Is that? I
believe, but not for a certain period of time.
Maybe a week, maybe.
I don't think it's going to be on, and then you can go watch it on Joe Mez that day too. I think there might be a little bit of a time buffer there, but I'm not 100% sure on that. These are all things that you need to call Jeremy Rusko on, because he's the man that wrote the check, if you want to say it that way. So
doesn't he always just respond with something like "we're working on it" or "we're working on something"?
Always working on something.
Yeah, yeah, he's working on his Bud Light. I don't want to hear it.
Well, it is his birthday, so
he should be. He should be
yeah.
working on a few of those. Very exciting stuff. One quick clarification that you probably know, which is with the postponement of a lot of our majors or all of our majors this year, the Junior Worlds was in a 3-year lock for being in Emporia. And so you guys are still going to host what will be the third and final year of Junior Worlds next year. Did I read that correctly?
That is correct. 2021 Junior Worlds will be in Emporia, Kansas, and I believe 2022 Pro Worlds will be in Emporia, Kansas.
Okay. Yes. So I know a lot of people were asking about that, and I think at one point it was up in the air, and some people had said, well, maybe you guys would just let it go on its third year to move on to the next location, but people still be excited, of course, to get back to Emporia. I know that has all of the events that I've attended in the last few years, I've been able to go to that one, and I have so much fun. And you guys have Bobby and Anthony and Danny and such a tremendous crew, and I'm flattered that I have any part of watching our junior champions get crowned for these last few years in Emporia. I genuinely look forward to that event. So hopefully I can
that's
be back
my
there.
favorite week as well. I mean, watching those kids light up when they rip a tee shot or just and the overwhelming amount of support they give each other is just crazy. Like, they love each other. They love to watch each other be successful, and it's really cool. I mean, can you imagine if it was like that now? Of Paul and Ricky gave high fives on the tee pad, that would blow your mind. Let's be honest.
Some of those relationships I think we still see, and then some of those have maybe passed their time.
Yeah, which is fine.
That's that's sports, but it is fresh and fun to see the kids get excited when one of them throws an awesome shot and everybody else is cheering and high-fiving. It's pretty cool.
It is.
Now we got to yell at him, say, no more high-fiving. Stay away from him. Don't you congratulate him. You need to stay 8 feet away from him or her. When they
Hopefully not next year.
By 2021, we'll be okay, but who knows? Who knows?
Some may think it's creepy, but I might start a new stand of, we need to start hugging again. And
okay.
Not right now.
No, not yet. But damn it, we got to get back to hugging. The good kind.
I like it.
I mean, you, Eric, you've known Terry long enough. That's we'll see.
We've hugged plenty. Maybe not. Anyway, all right, Emac. Is there anything else that we didn't inquire that we should know about? Whether it's Meyer Lake or DD or your World Championship designs, is there anything we didn't talk about here tonight?
I think we covered quite a bit of it. I would say, follow the reserve on the Facebook page there, Meyer Lake as well, and all of my pages, obviously, to help if you want to look for more information about this course, when it's going to be open and all that. Like I mentioned, we're going to close it down for a little while and make sure we get everything done and finalized before we really open it up to the public again. And that's looking to be about a month or so. So not too much more work is needed, but we just want to make sure everything's good to go, so we don't just have people constantly playing the course in a way that we don't want them to play it, if that makes sense. So we want to just get a few more trees out safely and pour the rest of that concrete and build the rest of those walls and put up the rest of that landscaping and fill the pro shop and start bringing people out. So
yeah, if you had to guess, and I know this is going to be 100% weather and snow dependent, but what do you guys kind of project as a kind of a course closing date or time frame? Is that October, November, when you guys really don't expect?
Between October and November would be my guess. Somewhere in that time frame. It kind of depends. I know that I had asked about snowfall when they get the first snow, and it's typically late October. Is when they'll get the first snowfall. But the first snowfall you can typically still play through. Mm-hmm. It's those 50-mile-an-hour winds when it's 70 degrees below zero and the lake is frozen 8 foot thick is when you don't want to be out here playing disc golf. Okay.
Yeah, that would make sense. All right, final question of the night is not even for you, but you probably know. How many birds has Denise identified out there? How many hundreds?
That's a great question. And actually today, after we dropped everybody off at the airport, we hit up a dock or a boardwalk that has a bird viewing. And she has a Google Doc, an actual Google Doc
awesome.
of all the birds that she sees and all that. So I'd have to ask her, but my guesstimation would be she's probably seen around a dozen species. So not too bad. Not too bad. She's been working really hard though, and playing. Props to her. She got 4th place at the Meyer Lake Classic. That was pretty cool to see her, get out there and play some good disc golf. Yeah,
it sounds like it was a little bit of play, a little bit of fun, and overall just a tremendous success up there. And that's exactly what we anticipated and I expected to hear. But we're just super happy to get all the details from you tonight, pal. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, guys. And anytime, let me know.
All right, sounds good. All right, Emac, get back to your relaxing, the much needed time off, which I know you'll sprinkle some work in there because that's the effort and the energy you put out. And we appreciate you guys or you for joining us tonight and giving us the updates.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, see ya. Have a good night.
Bye.
All right, Emac giving us some. I know I keep grinning about it because I just think about how when Emac does something, he does it well, he does it thoroughly.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure that is exhibited in every single step out there at Meyer Lake, and I feel like they're very lucky out there at Meyer Lake to have teamed up with the right guy and the right company and the right support network to go out there and to do that property justice. And we've got a lot of great course designers, and I got a lot of respect for all of them, and I think there's a lot of people that can do a great job, of course. So this isn't to slight anyone else, but I know they got a great product. And
just looking at some of those pictures are phenomenal. Some of those fairways that just carved out of the woods, and I'm excited to see what that course can become in a year or two, even.
Yeah, and I guess that was the one question at one point that grazed across my noggin was if you had to compare it to any other course that we might have seen or known. I wonder what that would be like, and I think about maybe something in Sweden or Finland that we've seen, just with the tree growth, the topography, the temperatures, the mosquitoes. I guess I might think of something like that maybe we've seen over in Sweden or Finland or somewhere like that, possibly. But that would be my only other question. Can we get him back on the line?
Sure. Call him back
Just
up.
Call him.
No.
All right. Do we have any other... let's get this in here quick. I want to start with PDGA voting. Still available. You're running out of time. You've got about 10-ish days or less. Just get it done right away. I did get mine in the last week or so. So definitely get your voting.
You voted for me, didn't you?
I wrote in Johnny V.
Awesome.
Me and my two kids. We wrote you in for all three because the vote for you is well earned.
One of the good things about voting right now is the PDGA put a post up about a week ago saying that participation is trending upward at the midway point, which is good.
Awesome.
2 weeks into the month-long PDGA election, 7,103 members have cast their votes. So that is up 1,700 from the week 1 update.
Wow.
So hopefully we can continue that trend. So if you have not voted, please go search your email for that ballot and get that in and submitted.
Yeah,
please.
and read a few more of those stats about the overall participation that we've had for turnout in the last couple of years.
Sure. This is a pretty short article. I'll quick throw it out there. The PDGA sent ballots to 51,791 members, putting the current participation rate at 13.71%. While that's an improvement on 2019's 12.99%, they're still short on the mark from 2018, which was 15.39, and 2017, which is 15.3. So let's push up those numbers, which is really interesting because clearly with the scale that we're growing, you'd hope that we keep the same percentage, but that's a lot of people over the last 3 years to join the PDGA. So I'm sure obviously the stats can look good no matter how you look at them.
I feel like if we had less people, our percentages would be lower. Like if we had less. Never mind. I'm not going to.
Let's not go anywhere near that.
I have a lot of great ideas. I'm really good with numbers.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you.
I'm sure you are.
You'd be surprised at how good I am with numbers.
Actually, you are really good with numbers. The PDGA is also updating the official rules of the Disc Golf, the competition manual for 2021. I read over these today. I did a little bit of research.
Wow.
I know.
Look at you.
Only because it happened to pop up. I don't know how I saw it, but it popped up. There's not a lot that's really that different. It's some wording. One of the things I did see is officially now there will be no smoking at majors, NTs, and Pro Tour events.
Is this crack?
No, they didn't say anything about that. They said smoking.
Okay.
Actually, they also did say chewing tobacco or e-cigarettes.
Okay.
The TD can designate an area, a smoking area, but if you are caught, it is a courtesy violation. And if there's any juniors, I believe there's no smoking at all. I believe that's what I read. The public display or use of tobacco products by event staff, players, and by extension their caddies is prohibited at all times at PDGA events of any tier that solely offer junior divisions. So like a junior major, anything like that. You can't smoke at all. Period. No designated area. No nothing. So a parent can't. If they're a caddy for their
your
kid.
18-year-old brother can't be. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And then it says here, this prohibition includes all smoking and chewing tobacco products, as well as electronic and vapor cigarettes, whether tobacco-based or not. This prohibition does not apply to smoking cessation products that do not produce vapor, such as nicotine gum, patches, or lozenges. Huh. And here it says, I'm trying to find... Such public display or use is also prohibited at all PDGA majors and Elite Series events, as well as those events held concurrently with those major and Elite Series. So, so if you have, like we just had, we just had the Silver Series, which isn't technically an Elite or a major, but it is an NT series. But if you had something like that for the Memorial, for Idlewild, for Ledgestone, this all falls into there. From the 2-minute warning until their scorecard is turned in. So
I can't wait till we start getting arguments about, no, I hit submit on my scorecard. Yeah. No, but did you turn it in? Exactly. No, I hit submit on my phone. Anyway. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So that's really the big one. The other one is what they're calling youth safety. The update is any child younger than 13 years of age who is accompanied by any player group and is not a caddy must be supervised by an adult who is not part of the player group and not a caddy. So ultimately, so this affects like junior worlds. You can't just have your 13-year-old kid
just drop them off,
or younger than 30. So 12-year-old kid walking with the group. They have to be accompanied by an adult, even if you're playing and the adult. You do not count anymore.
Which makes perfect sense in the sense that kid gets a bee sting and needs some medical attention or something, but you're playing in your group or you're doing something else within the group. Obviously, the whole issue of then you set up the scenario. You're in a threesome. You're playing at your event, and your group is a threesome. Your 9-year-old son is walking with you, gets stung by a bee, he's allergic to it. If you then have to tend to your 9-year-old, you're thinking, of course, no brainer. You tend to your 9-year-old. Well, that then takes you out of the group that you're in, no longer making that a viable group. And so there's situations where I could see how that could easily unfold and become an issue. Okay.
And then there's a few of the Q&As that they adjusted some wording for and struck out some things. Those you should go through and look because they're a lot more specific. It's like, for instance, my drive ended up under a picnic table. Very common question. Can I play from behind it? On top of it? ? They struck out in general, no. They and they also struck out, for example, a solid picnic table you play on top, if that is reasonable, no longer can play on top of picnic tables ever. That's basically what they're saying.
How am I going to do my
leg under there,
my 360 grinder on a picnic table rail slide flip kick?
Ollie?
Yeah, thank you. There's another good skateboard term since we're proficient in skateboard terminology.
Yes.
I think we covered most of it.
Half pipe, goofy foot.
Yeah. But I mean, in relation to the picnic table, we got to keep it real.
Okay. So go ahead and look over those.
Okay.
And
now those have all been signed, sealed, delivered. Those are done.
Those are updates coming into next year's competition manual.
Okay. All right. Very good to see. Now I'm gonna throw out a couple quick segues off of that. Let's start with a little bit more of the positive one. And I was speaking with Kevin Havinga today. He's, I believe, a Wisconsin transplant out to California, and he was purchasing some disc mailer boxes that I offer. There's a shameless plug that I wasn't really going for, but I do offer them. So if you need to ship a disc and you need a good protective way to do it, my disc in a box is your solution. But Kevin was telling me that he actually was part of a 40 or of a kids league, and I just wanted to quickly plug it. Really, it's out in California. He's running a juniors league that they started up since all the kids sports are canceled, and he's been getting roughly 40 kids a week for the first few weeks.
That's great.
And they want to continue to promote it and get it out there, but that they are having a kids league out there. He also then followed up later today and said he did have, again, another 40 kid turnout, and that's all taking place. So awesome to see. Looks like American Youth DGA on Instagram is a place that you could find them. A nonprofit association focusing on growing the sport of disc golf through the youth. So I wanted to throw it out there. He was kind of in passing telling me he was going to go out and do it, and I wanted to give the shout out and the mention to them. So that's awesome. 40 kids for a youth league, weekly youth league. So keep at it. Nice work. If there's anything we can do to help out, let us know. Now, I want to follow that up with the other thing that you were kind of just touching on. It was, and this is not to pass any judgment, but it was an interesting
judgment, Terry.
Interesting observation, and I will blame it on Tom McManus, PDGA 1276. He's probably on the board listening. Tom, a couple of years ago, said to me, and I may have repeated this once already. He just had a very interesting observation. He's a little more mature in his years than, say, Johnny and I. A young mature. Fair. But he's a little more mature than us in his age. He's PDGA 1276, signed up in the 70s or 80s. He once told me, I think he has some kind of a reaction of sorts to cigarette smoke, an above average reaction.
Yeah, a cigarette smoke causes me a sneeze.
Yeah, he once told me, he said, it's interesting to note that the one time a week, or the only time he's ever exposed to secondhand smoke, is when he's disc golfing in a tournament. And that just is something that has stuck with me. Johnny and I don't smoke, whatever. There are millions of 100% respectful smokers out there, and I'm not passing any judgment. I'm just simply mentioning a very enlightening point that Tom had once said to me, and it just kind of stuck with me. He probably told me this 5 years ago. He said the one time in an entire week-long situation, the one time I encounter cigarette smoke is when I'm out disc golfing at a tournament.
Well,
and I thought that was interesting. So again, there's rules, there's stipulations. Sometimes they're not going to be even allowed at all. And there's plenty of times where smoking is absolutely allowed. I'm all for it. Do whatever you have to do. I don't like personally care.
And below.
And again, there's provisions, and I know almost every cigarette smoker I've ever come in contact with on the course is as polite and respectful as they possibly can be. And it's all fine. I just thought that was such an interesting observation once that really hit home with me.
Sure.
It's the one time is when you're out in a competitive, recreational, or professional level athletic competition is the one time you encounter cigarette smoking. So
very weird. Real quick, let's talk about the one event that we really, other than the Meyer Lake event, of course, the one big event that we had this weekend, and that's the 10th annual Severan Lang Memorial presented by Innova Champion Discs. This was I'd say the connector event between Silver Cup and DGLO. It was down in Georgetown, Indiana, so right along the way. Taking this home was no surprise. Ricky Wysocki getting busy now. He's
getting a little Ricky with it.
Getting momentum, as we like to say. Ricky shot 3 strokes better than Corey Ellis and Garrett Gerthy. They shot 7 strokes better than Elijah Bickle and 8 better than Trevor Harbolt. Ricky's round ratings were 1042, matching his rating, 1029, slacking there, Ricky, and then 1043, right, just barely above his rating. So Ricky shot just barely below his rating overall to win that particular event. Moving over to Open Women, Jessica Wiese takes this one, shooting 12 over par, beating Kona Starpanis and Courtney Cannon by 4 strokes, followed up by Christine Jennings and Deanne Carey. Jessica Wiese shot a 959, so 15 points over her rating. Followed that up with a miserable 881 rated round, but big rebound, jumping up to a 960 rated round. So congratulations, Jessica Wiese, on taking this one. Just well done in general. Congratulations. And Brad Schick wins in Pro Masters.
Yeah. Maybe not so surprised.
Not-
It looks like there was a tie, so we're assuming with the money.
Yes, the prize money is
whatnot.
higher. He won. He tied with Tony Wilson, who's a 964 rated player. Brad Schick's 1,013. So Tony having a pretty good weekend for himself there. So congratulations.
Very nice.
That was really the big event. There's a couple smaller ones, but frankly,
Don't say it.
I don't care about them.
Ouch.
Not that they don't matter. I just don't care about them.
Ouch.
Because then I got to dig up all the stats and go
I
through it.
know, and you got to read.
If you, yeah,
click,
if
hyperlinks.
hyperlinks. Oh, jeez. Apple creating those hyperlinks. Yeah. So if you won this weekend and I'm not mentioning you, sorry, but good job.
I think we need some more big hug stickers made up. So Miles, I know you're listening, probably on Wednesday. We need some more SmashBoxxTV big hug stickers. We got to get more of those sent out. And again, bring back. Maybe that should be the new movement. Bring back the big hug. Yeah, there's a hashtag in there somewhere.
Bring back the big hug. Okay.
Or come give me a hug. How does that sound?
No, that's weird. Sounds like you're demanding somebody to hug you. And
Okay. And
can't get into some after show talk.
Big shout out, Mitch, one of the gentlemen who recently fulfilled my needs this weekend. Ran into him and he said, "Hey, you said something a few months ago when I played in an event with him. You said something or other about those Jawbreaker Comets, and he had one. He's like, I've got one in my car. I will never throw it. It's I think he's maybe got a different sponsorship and made a little trade. So now I officially have a single backup, and a few other people have reached out. But keep reaching out because I'd like more of those. Quick shout out, our good friend Steve held tonight. Managed to get a round of golfing with him, and on our third hole, as I was already complaining about the lefty favoring of this course, and he's left-handed.
Which course did you play?
Estabrook.
Okay.
On our third hole, Steve Held aced. So congratulations, Steve.
That is a really lefty-friendly course,
Yeah.
especially the front half.
Yeah, I mean, I almost walked off. I mean, it's like, you can have this. You can have this course. I don't need it. All this lefty stuff that you're doing.
I think you just whipped out your forehand.
Yes, exactly. I am
was able to keep up with
forehand
them.
proficient. All right. Ooh, and Chris Walton says your second backup will be there soon. I like where you're going
You
with
don't need
this.
any more then.
Nah, I could use a few dozen. I may have a convert. I played catch with our friend Dustin before the round, and he's like, wow. I mean, we sat and played catch from probably 150 feet, maybe 120. He loved it. Couldn't get enough of how it flew. So Dustin might need
I love me some comet action.
Yeah, he may need to try and get his hands on one. Quick plug also. I know I'm running out of time, but Dustin, who I spoke of earlier, he managed to capture a little of that extra footage at the Silver Cup, and it's all edited. Super excited to mention that, and I put down the commentary for round 1 today. So I'll probably get that out. Maybe I'll load that up right after our podcast because it'll load super fast here at the SmashBoxx studio. So I'll get that loaded up, and probably by sometime tomorrow you will see round 1. And then I want to get 2 and 3 out, so they're all out before you consume any D-Glow footage. So again, lots of great names on those 3 cards throughout the weekend on that. And I think we touched on it last week. Did you ever come up with a clever name?
No.
If I were to have a
Never heard for anything.
a line of sorts that followed or traced where a disc went. Does anybody have any clever names out there? Did you come up with anything?
God, no. I put zero thought into it.
The creeper line?
You've already crossed that.
I'm just spitballing here, but there's going to be a prize. If anyone can name what this nifty little line is that trails behind a disc, and we start to then brand it and move forward with it. Thanks to Tyler over at Disc Golf Comedy and DGA with the assist there. I think you're going to see something jump out off the page at you tomorrow.
Ooh.
Yeah, get ready. I'm just 10 years behind.
Not quite 10.
My
But
creeper line.
You're not 10 years behind the creeper line.
All right.
You're past that.
Okay. Quick segue. Speaking of course designs, I saw that Avery Jenkins
Played his 1200th course.
Yes, and do you know what was unique and special about that? 1200th?
Was it one he designed?
I believe it was one that he worked on and designed, possibly at the Anheuser-Busch
Headquarters, probably.
Yeah. Now, I had it written down.
I vaguely remember him helping out with that course. I didn't realize he had.
I'm not sure if he was full design. I'm gonna full visit. He's played 1,200 courses, 858 in the U.S., 342 international, so on and so forth. About all of his play, 30 years. Yeah, special thanks to Anheuser-Busch for sharing the vision of a disc golf course on their incredible property, along with Discmania disc crews and volunteers for this awesome experience. So, and then he rightfully thanks his wife. And yes, the number one beer producing company in the U.S., Anheuser-Busch, installing their new beautiful disc golf park. And that's all mentioned out there on Avery Jenkins' Facebook and probably his Instagram as well. And thanks to the volunteers at the Mile High Disc Golf Club and other surrounding communities for the installation of the Michelob Ultra Disc Golf Park. So that's kind of cool.
That is very cool.
I think we'll see more of that. I think we'll see people, large corporations that have some form of campus
Put
or
small
atmosphere.
courses on, and, like for their employees. And,
yeah, Google, YouTube. I know there's been talk about.
Which is funny because right now we're seeing a much bigger flow into remote workers.
Sure.
Not just it started with the coronavirus, but I think it's going to expand beyond that. Even when we're seeing as a society that a lot of people don't need to go into the office to do what they want to do. But yeah, I mean, it gives them incentive to actually come into the office maybe.
Yeah. Like, no, really, I want to come in and work. Okay. So yeah, congratulations to them. Very, very cool to see that take place. I believe there was always a conversation about 3M in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. I believe having a course on their property, and then Acuity Insurance in Wisconsin, up near Sheboygan, the Manitowoc area. I believe at one point they may have put 9 holes on their property as well.
Yes.
And that's right off the highway, and I'm assuming that's closed or
one of the country's biggest flags.
Yes, one of the U.S.
campus.
Flags out there. So very, very cool to see. All right, Johnny, do you got any other news or information that you've managed to scoop up off the internets?
I don't. We can wrap this up. We'll talk about some maybe fun after show stuff.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe not. I don't know. I wouldn't put I wouldn't bet on that. All right, guys, we're going to close things out. We got to thank EMAC. So insightful and such a vision. And then him, along with, as he said, Mike and TJ, and I think he said Steve and Meyer Lake and that crew of Steve-O and Doug Bjerkes and Noemi and Denise and Paige and Grady and Bobby, Anthony, all those people. Just sounds like a pretty incredible experience up there. And congrats to all those inaugural winners and champions that managed to perform well and take it down on what hopefully will be a very monumental weekend in the long run. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. Of course, stick around for the after show. We got some silliness. We're going to have some giveaways, which is why I know you really log in every week. All they care about, right. They're just like, get to the after show. We want something free. Send us a free disc. Well,
we do that.
We will satisfy you, at least one of you. For Johnny V, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, this has been podcast number 307. We'll see you in the after show when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBox TV's 307th After Show.
I want to show you a video, Terry.
Last time we did this, I couldn't sleep for a week.
Well, this might hurt you.
Okay.
Maybe
All
not.
right. What are we looking at here?
This is GK Pro. This is from this past weekend. This is Ricky throwing a big hind. Someone wants to know if this is a good kick. Bonk!
Oh.
Smack!
Oh,
jeez. Look out. Look out, because here it... Oh, I didn't see that coming.
ouch.
Hold on.
Is
Whack!
I mean, we're talking destroyer.
Ooh.
Ouch.
And then it rolled into the woods. What an unlucky kick.
Not awesome for him.
No. Hopefully he's all right. I mean,
All right. Yeah. Do any
he looked like he
spotter,
was fine.
volunteer? Was that a person on the next hole?
I didn't actually listen to the commentary. I just saw it pop up on someone's feed. They made a post, and I just happened to catch that. But
Ouch.
yeah, that's painful. Owie.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. Okay. All right. So as always,
Start the show off.
yeah,
Start the after show
with a
off.
headache. As always, a little disclaimer in the after show. Anything goes. It may or may not be disc golf related. We may air some grievances. We may pick on someone. We may tell stupid stories that aren't even related to disc golf.
Stupid story, not related to disc golf.
All right.
Guess-
that wasn't supposed to be a cue for you.
Guess where I was by my story. So today, I saw I don't think it's offensive.
Then it probably is.
A one-legged man in a wheelchair rolling after a woman who may or may not have been homeless. I couldn't tell, to be honest. Then another woman who was not involved in this altercation gets out, starts screaming at the man in the wheelchair to leave the woman alone, threatens him with pepper spray, gets like almost up in his face, but a little more than arm's length away, and is basically standing up for the win. And I had literally just gotten out of my car and was witnessing this. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then I saw the one-legged man in the wheelchair stand up out of his wheelchair and start to hop towards somebody. And someone was like, dude, sit down. Goes back into his wheelchair, sits down. Cops show up. Security shows up. I walk away.
I'm sorry, but my answer's got to be Walmart.
Ding, 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 ding.
Which is interesting because I know you don't frequent there often.
Very rarely. I bought a... right now, if you go to look for TVs are sold out everywhere. Like, I don't know if we're just right in between kind of the releasing of the 2020 models. I wanted a 55-inch TV for our upstairs. We brought the one from upstairs into the basement down here. Right behind this wall or this curtain here is the family. For those of you that follow us on Facebook, you kind of saw party in the front, business in the back. And so we brought the TV from upstairs downstairs. I need to get a new TV. Walmart had one at one of their locations that they could just ship to here. I've got a Walmart literally, what?
Block and a half?
Yeah, block and a half away. I was going to say about 1,000 feet away from my house. So I literally just needed to pull in, pick up my TV, and leave. And that is exactly what I saw.
I think I know the man that you're referencing then.
Sure.
Yeah, I do.
Possibly.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Wow.
Yeah. I just kind of...
I think I hate the idea that I could guess correctly
I
where...
know, and I kind of feel bad because I have no clue what was going on. I just literally walked into the situation and I thought, Walmart. Like, I shop at that Walmart maybe, like I said, it's a block and a half away, maybe once every 2 years when I need something, when I just have to have something, because almost everything I order online.
When America needs TVs, Johnny shows up to Walmart.
The same TV, if I wanted to order it from Amazon, $200 extra would have cost me. The exact same television. So right now, it's hard to get TVs. But it just kind of made me shake my head. I'm like, come on, Walmart. You can be better. Although I will say when I had to walk in to get the TV, everybody rightfully wearing a mask, which is a mandatory in Milwaukee now. But
I think a lot of our big box stores, just in general, I think Walmart is part of the collection of overall stores that have put it out there that they are going to be wearing them. All right, I'm going to read a few things off the board. And like I said, as always, if you would like to ask a question directly or get at us, the YouTube chat is the easiest way to do it. You can do it on Facebook, but the YouTube chat is the one that we most easily monitor. So I'm reading down the list, and I see Disc Golf Comedy asks, who I had a lengthy conversation with last night, but he still asks,
that guy, he likes to talk.
How many mullets have Terry and Johnny V had during their lifetimes? It's a fair question.
Did you ever have one growing up?
No,
I did.
Yes, you did.
Clearly. Now the question is, I don't know if I can judge for two. Is a rat tail is that considered a mullet? Did you ever have one as a kid? Like where you just grow up like a little bit in the back?
No.
I think I was in kindergarten. Yeah, I had to be kindergarten because I lived in Arizona for a year. My family moved out there. And it was very, very popular at the time. This was probably 1983 or 84.
Mm-hmm.
And I had grown one out as a kid. A lot of the kids had them. And we moved back here to Wisconsin where nobody had them. Not one single person.
There's a reason for that.
No.
So you thought you know what? You're like, Dad, I want to be a trendsetter. Give me.
No, I had already had it because I lived in Arizona, so I moved back here. My grandmother hated it, and we moved in with her for a few weeks or a few months, maybe until we found an apartment or a house, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being upset because she cut it off, and like I was not happy. Within like maybe a year. Very popular in Wisconsin at that. It was like 1985 or something. I remember thinking
always
like,
ahead of the hair trends.
No, I'm not. I just happened to be Wisconsin was behind in hair trends. So so I had like a 5 or 6 inch like rat tail as a kid, like in kindergarten. That would have been me. So I don't know if that counts, but otherwise, yes. In like the late 80s, very early 90s, I had a.
You had a full blown mullet in junior high.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. That was right around, to date both of us here, that was right around, the early 90s, of course, the early stages of grunge and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Once grunge started, like, the mullet stopped and the rest of the hair caught up.
Which is exactly where I ultimately went to, is I grew everything out. I didn't just grow a certain section. I just grew all of my hair out. And then for some crazy reason, I proceeded to have long hair all the way until like junior year of college. So there's, and what was really crazy about that very long stage was that I never really wore it down. I always had it back in a ponytail, always. And I always wore a hat. For anyone that knew me, you would see me 7 days a week wearing a hat. And it wasn't until Disc Golf Media came along in the last 10 years that I had to quit wearing hats because of the shadows. I would go to sleep with a hat on. 24/7, a hat was just something that I always loved, which is then funny because everyone used to say, oh, you're going to lose your hair and all this other stuff because you wear a hat. That's not happening. That's not happening. So anyway, mullet 1 for JV, 0, or maybe 2.
I'm going to go 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5.
1.5 mullets.
And 0 for this guy. So there's your very long-winded answer, Disc Golf Comedy. I can only imagine how many you've had, though.
Tyler. I do want to give a shout-out as, again, everybody saw in between the regular show and the after show, the mini studio audience we have here. It's up on the wall. It's right over there, as you can't unfortunately see.
Can you put the graphic back up for all to see?
I can put the graphic back up for everyone to see right here.
And our audio is still over it. So so this is everyone at the $5 and above Patreon level that has currently submitted an image to have then placed on one of these minis. We're missing some.
We are missing some. We're missing about a dozen people, I would say, that have not submitted a picture or something they want. It doesn't have to be clearly a picture. It can be a company logo, whatever. If you are a Patreon supporter at the $5 and above level, you should have gotten an email from me from Patreon or through Patreon for you to submit that. So that's clearly all on us. You just give us the picture, we'll order the minis. And again, shout out to Dynamic Discs for getting that done and making that happen for us. Very cool of them, and very cool. I sat here and hung shelves last night.
Yeah, so thank you to them. And then also, if you're not a Patreon subscriber at that dollar figure or above, you can also just directly come in and support it as well. So those are all options. If you
go
so
to SmashBoxxTV, out to our store, you can purchase. I think it's $100 for a year or something, and we'll get you a mini and put it up on the wall. Or I think there's a $500 lifetime.
Oh yeah.
One. So if you want to throw us $500, I'll get you.
Yeah, and David John says, how many seats are left? Guess what? We have stadium seating here. We can fit at least 60,000. So just get in on it, but get in early if you want a good seat in the house.
As you can see from the picture, I had to go 11 minis up on the top and then 10 on the other two. I have more shelves.
Yeah, more shelves.
I have more shelves because
we can zoom out. Yeah, we'll make it
definitely fit. There's a lot of wall to cover over there, so I spray painted those little L brackets yesterday. Yesterday, right when I got home from work, and then about 11 o'clock last night, I hung them up.
And also, David John, to answer you, I think you said you're on a ferry or on a boat outside one of the islands within Thailand. So be safe. But the guidelines for the pick is just that it has to be mildly to widely appropriate. Yeah, but it could be whatever you want. You want it to be your dog. You want it to be your favorite boat. You want it to be a coconut.
There's an Aaron Rodgers up there. There's a couple.
He's a big fan.
He is. He's a huge smashy. He's a couple. He always tends to call late on Tuesdays when we already have a guest.
I know. We can never let him on.
I keep pushing him back. At some point, maybe we'll have him on. But
speaking of Aaron Rodgers news,
he broke up with
who dumped who?
With Danica,
Was it? I saw a headline. I did not click on it.
I just saw that they broke up. I didn't dig any more into it. I don't really care that much.
I need to know who ended it with whom.
Good question. I don't know. You can research that.
These are the pressing things we need to know.
That's right along your creeper line, which is great.
I'll just DM Danica. I can imagine she'll get right back to me.
She'll get right back to you on that.
You don't think so?
Yeah. So how many seats left? Lots of seats left.
Just
get us information and we'll get that up for you. Much appreciated. Some really cool pictures, and it's really nice to be able to see. It adds a little bit of color down here to the basement, which is great because right now it's just a bunch of white walls. And I'd love to see that filled up.
Also, what took place here in Wisconsin just a couple days ago, I think we saw Eric Oakley and Holly Finley and Sarah Hokum all were over in Madison, about an hour west of us. They were here over the weekend. They did something over at the Glide Pro Shop, some kind of it wasn't quite a full-blown meet and greet. I know there's some social distanced clinic of sorts that took place, and then there was kind of a round of golf that could get played, and I know they did that over at High Stand Park this last weekend, so really awesome to see that, and I guess that really kind of touches on what you just said about this last weekend and some of our players choosing to go to this event in Indiana. A few people played in Illinois. Traveled to various locations to take in golf. And then some players, kind of took it easy. One thing we didn't touch on, which I'm surprised people haven't been screaming about, is Paul Macbeth and Brody and Barry Schultz all played an event in Virginia at a course that I believe Paul had designed. I don't know if he was the exclusive designer of the course, but I believe that he was at least one of the primary designers of the course. And I know that took place, and I know Elaine King smashed Hannah Macbeth. Well, okay, beat her on the final hole maybe, but Elaine King bested Hannah Macbeth. I do know that. And
Elaine King, as everyone says, the GOAT, hands down, one of the best Instagram posts you will ever see was her. I don't want to say mocking, but it's
taunting.
It's taunting. Yes, thank you. Taunting Hannah Macbeth, and Hannah with a picture in the background with a big thumbs down. Clearly all in good fun, but ultimately one of the best posts. And that was the Battle for Bedford over Blue Chip Technologies presented that over in Bedford, Virginia. Tournament director Hunter Thomas
Okay. And someone is saying that he designed the long tees.
He designed the long tees. Okay. Yep.
I wonder who he catered those to.
Oh, jeez. Look at me.
This
like
isn't
the long
tough enough.
hyzers.
Let's make these longer.
Yeah. So Paul wins that over Barry Schultz by 6 strokes, and then
It was very tight after the first round.
it was Paul only had him by 1, and then Paul does what Paul does and just decided to
Gets
go.
lucky.
Yeah. Yes. Just gets really lucky and shoots a 10:57 rated round. Geesh. Well, whatever. And then I'm looking for Brody. Oh, there he is. Brody Smith, tied for last cash, officially a cashing pro.
Yes.
Now, for $65, tied with Ben Brown, shooting a 994 rated first round and a 944 rated second round. And in open women, as you said, Elaine King beating Hannah Macbeth, just smacking her down, putting the beat down on her. Sorry, Hannah. Someday.
So, yeah, that took place. Thinking about, again, some of our players and a few of them, I think, also made it over to Michigan to start getting prepped. We were talking about the course getting put in over the weekend. Huge shout out to the staff and the crew over at the Disc Golf Pro Tour, along with the local
I have all the drone
organizing
previews
committee.
at some point.
Ooh, all the drone. We should have a segment of just watching drone previews. I think some people would like that.
Oh, I mean, we could literally just have another show where we talk
Just drone previews.
Well, just talking drone previews.
Drone previews.
No, in general, what one might say, previewing a course. But
yeah, that certainly could happen. Yeah. And I saw that the booth was set up, the Disc Golf Pro Tour booth, and I'm sure they were doing some interviews probably yesterday, today, maybe tomorrow as well, that will all then ultimately work their way into the broadcast for this weekend. Speaking of this weekend's broadcast, we're going to, I don't want to say do more of the same, but a very similar format show set up. We have the same 3 cameramen that we had at the last event. So we got Catch Cam Sam, we've got Evan, and we've got Trent, who are all going to be our 3 cameramen over there, plus Blaine over at GK Pro on the FPO side. We will see Jamie, Nate, and Val all will be in Bend, Oregon. And
you're going to be sweating it out on the course.
I'll be out there on the course, hiking up and down those hills. Can't wait. And then Mo will be here along with you and Gary to the O, pressing buttons and talking to the camera crew and to the announcer. So, first round, of course, first and second round, you're going to find live on the Disc Golf Network. Third round will be on the Disc Golf Network and, of course, live on YouTube. And then I mentioned a little earlier all the post-production that you're going to see again as well. So
we'll have Mo sitting right where you're sitting.
Okay.
Gary O sitting right to my left. It'll be a happy family.
Should be a good time. Dan Harbeck asked, was that a PDG event? If you're talking about probably the Battle at Bedford, that was, in fact, a PDGA event. As Johnny listed off a few of the details and the results. But yes, that was a PDGA event. And as Johnny kind of said, by all official definition, Brody accepting that cash and being rated over 972, he is 100%. Yeah, he's no longer complaining Am Worlds. I don't think that was a concern. But he is 100% a professional disc golfer in what I consider the truest sense. Like, I know you can sign up as a pro if you really want to. And I know, there's a lot of different people that will argue about what a pro is. In my opinion, regardless of your rating, if you have accepted cash in a professional division, I personally, and it's an old school mentality maybe, that's when I would consider you a professional disc golfer, is once you've accepted cash in a professional PDGA sanctioned event. That's my definition of a professional disc golfer. So Brody is every bit of that. All right. Disc Golf Comedy says that right now he is seeing the captions appear before
what we say.
Yeah. Are you...
I mean, he's got to make sure
hit refresh.
Hit that live button, hit refresh. Or it could just be the slight delay in YouTube from the processing of the captions, and the captions are somehow coming through early. Or, like someone says, it's the Illuminati, and you're really just reading from a script.
Yeah, my boys at QAnon, we've become much closer.
The Canons?
Yeah, we are Just wake up, people. That's all I'm going to say. Wake up.
Stop being sheeple.
All right. JT O'Brien or others have asked countless times, or 3, any history on a disc called the X15. Sorry for the spam. I'm thinking you're talking about a lightning disc called the X15, which were all primarily discs that were named after various planes. Not every single disc, but most of their discs named after planes.
If I had to take a guess, I would say I think it was approved on January 1st in 1987.
I bet you it wasn't. I bet you that's when the documents show, but I bet you it wasn't actually approved on the 1st.
I'm guessing that
they had to
backfill
some
87-09. The max weight's about 177.6. Diameter is about 21.4 centimeters.
0.4. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the PDGA.
So that tells me it's. I probably touched her through one back in the day because Lightning was definitely more popular when Johnny and I first started playing. With a max diameter of 177, that makes me think of like somewhere between like a we'll say like a Gazelle and a Viper, which I know you're very familiar with both of those, but between a Gazelle and a Viper, because Gazelles and Whippets were legal up to like 175, 176, Vipers were legal to 180. So with that size and the rim and the dimensions and however that all breaks down, yeah, that's probably
ultimately what we're saying is it has zero value. If you like it, throw it. It's PDGA approved, but it's just an old school disc.
However, I believe they had a lifetime guarantee. So if you have broken yours, please reach out to Lightning and they will replace it with a new X15.
Hey, do you think they still make them?
No.
You sure?
No, I'm not sure.
You're not sure. See?
No, I'm not sure. Eric asks, no fans this weekend. As far as we are under the understanding, they're still in the phase 1. We said that a little earlier. No fans will be allowed this weekend. From what? Now, don't take my word for it, because a lot of times I'm just wrong or I make stuff up. But I do not believe fans are allowed at the event this weekend. So that might give you a little incentive to be a
spotter,
a full-blown spotter, volunteer. There's some process, I'm sure, to being a legitimate spotter or volunteer of sorts. You'd have to reach out to the event staff for that. I'm not sure where they stand on all that. That might be your best chance to catch a glimpse of, I don't know, Cam Messerschmidt. If you're out there for him.
Maybe.
All right. Top 3 MPO and FPO for this weekend's D-Glow.
Paul, number 1.
Ulibarri.
No, not that guy. Ouch, I know. Ricky, number 2. And I'm going to go Kevin Jones, 3rd.
So predictable. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Those are 1 and 2. I mean, nobody's going on.
You think so? Rick's on a heater.
I think Rick is on a heater, but I don't think he can quite catch Paul. I think it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna give it to Paul. Just it's hard to beat Paul at this course. He's got the mojo here.
What about C-Dick and a little Heimberg?
I'm gonna go.
You don't see Dick and you don't see Heimberg.
Nope. I think this is where Heimberg takes like 15th.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. But if he does now,
we know who to blame.
We know who to blame. No, I mean, Heimberg's been rocking it. But I just think that, and this is honestly a good course for him because there's a lot of distance.
Distance and hitting your lines.
Yes.
And he does that as well as anybody.
He does. But I feel like Ricky's on a heater right now, and he's confident. He's going to get the SmashBoxx bump.
Wow. Johnny
all the way
B.
up to second.
Throwing it out there. FPO,
you have to go Paige Pierce winning. If not, you're just dumb. Second, I feel like Cat. I think I'm going to go Cat second and Missy Gannon third.
Chris, I didn't say C-Deck. C-Dick. Okay, C-Dick. Chris Dickerson. All right, Too Keen DG says Lightning stopped using plane names a couple years back and switched to their numerical naming system. So X15 is out of production. It's a fun collector. I'm still hunting for a P38. Well, I'll give you an N44 for a valid bingo. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you on that. Good luck to you. In all seriousness, I would love to know where Lightning is these days. Like, I've heard various things. I don't know if they were bought out, if anyone's still making plastic. Steve Howell, I want to say was the name, the gentleman.
Vaguely.
I would love a legit update as to where they're at, if anywhere. I'm sure somebody knows what's going on. I know I don't, though. And Lightning, if you'd like to support the Disc Golf Guy video blog coverage,
you can do so by contacting John at Nightbear.
I will gladly make sure everyone knows about your plastic. All right. Wes asks, is that like a sales marketing thing? CDick. No, CDick is just part of his username.
Worst nickname of all time.
I think it's just part of his username that we see on his Instagram, and then therefore it goes hand in hand with just a nickname. And I think CDick is great.
I think it's a horrible nickname.
Well, what do you know?
A lot. Oh God!
JT O'Brien's asking, what about Emerson Keith?
Emerson could have a really good weekend. I mean, this is a crusher course, so it wouldn't shock me. Which is why I put Kevin Jones in third. He hasn't been playing super well, but I think he's due. So I think we're going to see some. I think we're going to see some Kevin Jones action.
Okay.
I'm assuming he's playing.
Yeah, I think he did make an announcement on the Instagrams recently that he was maybe foregoing a trip to Alaska or some other international trip. Maybe it was an international trip. He opted out of it. I know he was not scheduled necessarily to go to Meyer Lake this last weekend, but I feel like recently he made an announcement saying that he was not planning on taking a trip somewhere due to where the health of travel in the country and everything else is. And but he is registered for this weekend.
For the event. I'm looking right now.
All right. Also, updates. Lightning moved from Texas to up north. Research needed. Yes, please get us updated. Kelvin Simon Eagle, top 7.
Sure.
Yeah, it's so tough because you say it's a long course, requires accuracy.
And I'll be honest. I mean,
stamina.
No, I was gonna say, being a lefty on this course is actually kind of friendly. There's a few really nice holes that just favor a left-handed thrower as opposed to a righty turnover. And
sure.
And there's not really the opposite. You don't, other than I think it's 14 or 15, the one that goes down the hill and plays into the trees.
It's 12, like the kind 12? Of the iconic.
Yeah, you go way up the hill, and then you turn around and come way back down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that one favors a righty, but all the other ones, I mean, it doesn't hurt to have some lefty power out there.
Sure.
I mean, we saw Zach Melton play.
So
really
you're saying
well.
Melton and Clemens?
I'm saying Clemens, not Melton, not that guy.
Ouch.
Just kidding. Melton played really well here last year for a round. I think he had a rough go of it on the live, if I remember correctly. But ultimately, I think if you're going to see a really good lefty come out and score well, it's going to be on this course.
Okay.
So I would not be shocked to see a Chris Clemens or a Zach Melton play well.
On another note, while doing a little bit of traveling, I was able to consume a few minutes of the Par T podcast. And,
did you? I've listened to a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just the first two, a little bit of the first episode, a little bit of the second episode.
Oh, okay.
It's just really difficult because, as far as I know, it's not part of. You can't just put it on like a podcasting.
Yeah, so you have to listen to it in real time for starters.
Yeah, through the Disc Golf Pro Tour app, or through this Disc Golf Network, which makes it more difficult because it's not right in front of me. It's not right in my when I get a podcast, it pops in my phone. I'm like, ding, cool, that's awesome. There it is. This doesn't do that, so I actually have to go out of my way kind of to do it, and it's not in my fourth right here. It's not right here.
Yeah, well, Yeah, I totally agree with that, because you're used to going to all of your favorite podcast apps, downloading it, and then I think one of the greatest luxuries is then playing it in a faster time. That was a suggestion by you years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to play it in a little bit faster speed, and so not being able to do that, I'm just hoping that there's going to be some kind of a good workaround or a solution to be able to do something of that nature in the long run. So I wanted to go out. I think it's great that we're seeing yet even more people expand into more disc golf media and podcasting. Of course, a couple of great hosts and candidates to do so, and I'm excited to consume a little bit more of it.
Which episode did you listen to?
One.
Okay.
I got into one, and then it's like yourself, whether it's a podcast or even now a lot of YouTube stuff at night, I immediately go to like 1.75 or 2.0 speed, and it always just feels so unproductive to listen to something in real time, as most of you are listening to us probably in real time. I just love it when it's sped up.
Same here. And like I mentioned last week, I talked with Hannah a little bit, gave her a suggestion or two about some apps she can use to help improve the quality of the audio. So if you keep going, I think by episode 3, she is now getting to be the podcast sounds a little cleaner, is my understanding.
Okay. So
yeah.
Should be great, and hopefully they'll continue. I can't say enough, and I know a lot of people have said this throughout the years about video production. Saying we need more FPO coverage. Of course, I very much have promoted, advocated, and been part of that solution for a number of years. And right, wrong, indifferent, if it really matters or not, I don't know. But I always did think it would be great to have a women's-based crew that really took full control and ownership of just owning FPO coverage, putting out really, really good FPO coverage. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be females doing it. I just thought that would be kind of a great thing to see and watch that crew grow and thrive in that position. And unfortunately, I mean, to be fair, well, do we have we don't have a single on tour regular female camera operator or editor that I know of.
No, we don't. Ellen Widboom has stepped in for Central Coast.
Yep, great call.
On occasion, but no, we do not. Obviously, we now have. Someone's going to get mad at me.
I will.
This podcast, The Party, is the second FPO-based podcast, because we see the Ladies of the Chains, who have been doing a really good job, and. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I truly am excited to be able to that we're seeing some expansion in just the ownership of the division, and it's a perspective of the division by the division.
Correct. I was going to say, is there anyone that?
I mean, even the what I think is about the having Hannah and Christine do it is that they are actually at a lot of these pro tour events and national tour events. So they have an even different perspective than the Ladies of the Chains, who a lot of times are watching it remotely. I know they do go to some of the events as well. They were at the DD Open, I believe, a couple of them. So they've got a good perspective, but now we have two different perspectives on this, and it's
very much so.
It can be very enlightening. Take some time to take a listen if you haven't.
Yeah, and the fact that, and to follow that up, obviously Hannah playing professionally, Christine playing professionally. Hannah married to Paul, and Christine is dating Bart, who's also a professional in the MPO division. So just getting all of those perspectives, like you said, is a little different from what you see from Ladies of the Chains, but yet is a fresh, unique perspective that they're able to bring to it. And I hopefully everything continues to go well, and be excited to see and hear more about it. So very cool. All right, Johnny. You start working on the giveaway.
I'm
if
ready.
You haven't already. You're ready for the giveaway?
I'm ready for the giveaway.
Yeah.
Terry Miller.
Okay. Well,
we have 199 patrons. So we've got a few over the last week. Shout out to all of you. Thank you very much for supporting us. If you would like to qualify for this giveaway that we do every week, you can sign up at patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV for as little as $1 a day. No, for as little as $1 a month. You guys can help support SmashBoxxTV and let us continue to provide you the world's
Most mediocre.
the world's best podcast.
Ouch.
I believe that's what
Best or disc golf? Best disc golf?
best, just in general.
No. Ouch.
Yeah, I mean, Radiolab, psh,
Yeah.
This American Life, psh, you've got Smashbox. And as long as the power stays on, we'll be here. So again, patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV, and you can be entered to get something every week when we do our drawing here. You can also go to, I believe it's SmashBoxxTV/weekly winner, something like that. Weekly giveaway. I'll find out. I'll let you know next week because I forgot what the website is. So you can qualify.
No purchase necessary.
Without being a Patreon supporter. But we have 199 people this week, Terry, that
we got 199 patrons and a bogey ain't one.
Bogey ain't one.
All right.
No problems.
All right. I would like for you to use the random.org generator, and I would say the 199th person you draw is the one.
All right.
Okay. How about, let's go with a silly number like 4. How about the 4th number you draw will be our winner tonight to make it officially random in every way. That's our first one. How did you sort them tonight?
By email address.
Okay.
It's not 68. It's not 145. You got to guess? What's your guess? Come on. Let's see if we can get closer. I'm gonna guess 32.
I'm gonna say 159.
91.
So I'm
technically closer, barely.
Not by no. I think you are because I would be. What did I say? 159? No, I would have been.
Oh, I said 32.
70.
Yeah,
I would have been 70 off. You'd have been 60.
I thought I said. Yeah.
We could sit here for next week and guess that.
So 91. 91
better.
is the person, and our 91 is Jeff Rags. So congratulations, Jeff Rags. You are the Patreon giveaway winner for this particular week.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. I am relatively caught up, and I know I say I'm going to get caught up. Well, needless to say, I'm pretty caught up right now. I've sent out a ton of boxes and some discs and some shirts and some other things. I sent out that extra one that you mentioned. I believe Matt S was our winner from last week. Stuff's already on his way.
Wow.
So, yeah, I am relatively caught up. Dan Harbeck, we saw a message or two. I take full responsibility for you not getting something you've got coming your way. I saw a message between you and me and Johnny, and I'll take responsibility. I got to get something out to you. But thank you for being on the board and being a Smashian for the super chat that you're thinking about leaving here tonight. So thank you so much to all of our Patreon subscribers. Mike Janish just got in on the action saying, Terry, will you be doing Minnesota Amateurs again this year with COVID? I think it was rescheduled to a weekend I'm not around, if I recall. You'd have to let me know the weekend. I have not had any conversation with the event specifically, but I feel like I did see that get rescheduled, and I did counter that against my personal schedule and think there's already a conflict. But anything's possible. We're not sure. Wes Warren gets in on the action. Thank you so much, Wes.
Jeff Rags. His real name is Jeff Ragsdale. So
clever.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jeff. We appreciate that as well. All right. There's someone else I was going to appreciate. I don't know. I appreciate you guys, all of you.
Yeah, we do. We appreciate everybody.
Yeah, and I'll admit it's kind of, it has been a little bit different thinking ahead to events where people are talking about, hey, can we meet up? Or, hey, I'd like to buy this, or you know, can you autograph, or whatever the case might be, any kind of interaction. And we're just still in that limbo stage for all of our players, for all of our media, as to where you're going to be, what you're going to be able to offer. You know, are non-volunteers going to be allowed to be there? Those are all things. I'm not sure where Idlewild stands right now. We do know that the Ledgestone event, I believe, is looking at a phase 2 version where spectators to some degree are going to be allowed and involved. I know that Nate has kind of reworked the schedule multiple times to include certain things and then to substitute in other areas where, large gatherings aren't quite as as practical. But that's just that. I think we're going to continue to have to talk about this kind of on a week by week basis as to what event is going to look like as we move to each event. So. All right, I'm going to keep reading down the board while Johnny gets some of that ready.
We're good.
Kaposia action get filmed. I've filmed a number of events over at Kaposia in the last few years, mainly the Minnesota Am Championships. And then I know this last week the Twin Town Throwdown took place. Jason Wilder, I believe, was the TD. We saw an ace by Mitch Privet. He got an ace out there, and so congratulations to them. And again, I think Par Save is on top of all of the coverage. So if they haven't released it, which I don't think they have yet, they probably will be very soon.
Cody Garner asks, Smashies are asking about your footage with JV, Paul, and Brody. That
still got it.
But it has not been touched. It has not been really too much looked at.
No.
You've been a little bit busy.
Yeah, surprisingly, I have other things that are on my plate and in my queue right now. I do have some bonus footage that is
give that to Dustin.
That is going to be. That's not a bad idea. I do have some bonus footage that's almost coming due, and what I mean by that is I have some extra stuff that we captured last year totally as a bonus at Ledgestone. So I want to release that just before this year's Ledgestone, kind of as a little refresher, mainly so I can get the people yelling and screaming and say, why is this from 2019? I was so confused. I thought it's like, it's a week out. It's out a week before 2020. It shouldn't confuse you that much. But so I do have some bonus footage from 2019 Ledgestone, and I had bonus footage from 2019's MVP Open. So both of those are, I think they're already edited, and both of those will also be getting released just before those events. So here's your warning, don't get confused right now. That Brody, Paul, Terry footage, that'll all get out someday. Yeah, we'll make it work. Start pulling all-nighters or start doing meth. Wow, Wes, not a bad idea.
I mean,
Speaking of meth, I ran into a golfer I haven't told you about today.
Speaking of meth, I ran into a golfer.
Yeah, it's
okay.
I won't bother sharing his name.
I think I know.
No, I don't think you do, actually. You know him. We'll talk about it after the show. But needless to say, I ran into a disc golfer. You and I both know we haven't seen in many years. He's local to the Milwaukee area.
Scott Bertard.
No.
Who's a good friend of ours, not a meth head.
All right.
Anyway, you ran into him?
Well, I'll finish the story later, I guess.
Oh, what a tease. What a tease.
There's some questionable, yeah. David John says, sorry for the misspell, wet fingers. I think that's because you're on a boat, hopefully. Yeah, probably talking about some wet fingers while you're on a boat. And you continue to type. David, I do want to know, since we're interacting here, where are you going? You're somewhere on, I think there's 1,456 islands that are part of Thailand. I'd like to know if you are island hopping or what you're doing. Where are you going on this ferry that you're currently on? And if you're still in Thailand, that's what I'd like to know. Sid asks, are you going to the LSO, meaning the Lake Superior Open? That's a large-scale A-tier here in Wisconsin.
I saw Johnny McRae is going there.
It's on the Wisconsin Tour, and it's a solid event taking place up in northern Wisconsin. It is not one that I will be around for, actually. So
is that next weekend?
The following weekend after this. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
not this upcoming, but next week.
Yeah. So in like 10 or 12 days or something like that. So yes, that'll be taking place. I have not been there for the event. I hear it's incredible. I don't know if it's sold out or not. I hear it's incredible, and best of luck to everyone. I will not be out there. Yes, Brian Lagerin, I know, is in control of things up there in northern Wisconsin. So, and speaking of northern Wisconsin, quick plug. Lagerin and Mountain Man and all the guys in northern Wisconsin, way northern Wisconsin, up at High Bridge Hills, which hosted the 2007 Pro Worlds, is on the mend. It's been on the mend for the last year and a half, just totally revamping and getting that place up to the dream destination that it has all the potential to be and currently is. So I'm just lobbing that out there for you right now, that if you're going to come to Wisconsin or you're going to be here in the Midwest, playing in the Twin Cities is a no-brainer, but then also coming over to northern Wisconsin, stopping at Sandy Point Resort, which Johnny and I have been to countless times, playing High Bridge Hills. Those are the places that you want to make sure that are on your must-play list in Wisconsin. So just wanted to lob that out there and make sure everyone knows. Do you think AMC will be able to survive post-COVID? Are movie theaters over?
Oh, that's so tough. I don't think they're over because I think there is a general benefit to studios to release movies, but I think, oh man, it's so tough. I think that we won't see many art house movies anymore. I think they're all going to be giant tentpole movies, and we're already kind of leaning that way anyway. Like you probably won't ever see a Good Will Hunting style movie in the theater again. Like you might be able to catch it at like a really small thing, but most of those are going to be sold probably right to a Netflix, right to an Amazon Prime, all that stuff. You're only going to see like the giant sci-fi, Marvel, Batman, just those huge money makers go to theaters, because I think that there is a benefit still to have them in there. Although, as I think I've said on this podcast, I would be just as happy if they skipped theaters and went right to, and I would pay $50 to sit and watch it in my house. Just sit down. I don't have to leave my house. I can cook my own, I can pause it. I can do whatever I need to do. The downside of that is when you do that, you open up a ton of options for pirating.
Mm-hmm.
You would need some sort of something special to do, and even
like
then,
some kind of encoding or something, so that it.
Yeah, but even then, it's way easier probably for someone just to set up a camera in their house. But then again, if you're putting it right to the house, there's the demand is gonna be a lot less for that. There will still be people who will do it, but ultimately, if you have the choice, like, I could pay $30, $40, $50 to watch this movie, or I could go out to, I don't know where people go anymore. It used to be Pirate Bay, and download this, torrent. I don't know. I would personally prefer to just completely skip theaters these days. And my wife even just said today, she's like, I miss going to movie theaters, and I do too, honestly, a little bit, because there's something fun about going to see a giant sci-fi or movie like that. But if I didn't have to go to a Pixar movie or a Trolls or a kids movie to do that, I'd be fine with that. The only movies I really care about are the ones where you can't really reproduce it in your house because of the awesome sound effects. I mean, again, I've just got a brand new 55-inch 4K TV upstairs. I can do, anything. I just need a nice little sound system. But I don't know. I don't think they're dead, but they're definitely on life support. It's really just going to take one major studio to just say, cool, we're done.
Yeah, but I do wonder though, is there any similarity if you would say the same about, we'll say, watching live music, concerts? Like, do you feel like clearly concerts are taking a hit. I read a headline today. All concerts in all of Milwaukee
2020 are done.
They're officially full-blown postponed / canceled for every concert in Milwaukee for 2020. And we host Summerfest, which is, one of the largest music festivals in the world. Mm-hmm. But it's officially done for 2020. And so could you say the same, or is that just not a fair comparison to say?
It's a tough comparison.
Concerts, because to be fair, mm-hmm. you're probably going to get better acoustics at your house on a well-produced CD or album or vinyl or whatever you want to use.
And that's part of the appeal. There is the overlap in the appeal of the theater, seeing it with a bunch of cool people, but seeing it with a bunch of people who have probably a similar excitement for it that you
mm-hmm.
do. When I was younger, I went to a lot more movies, and maybe that's just part of being younger, but I went to movies that, I'd go see horror movies in the theater. Like that stuff I'm never going to do again. I will probably never go see like a Halloween or a Friday the 13th or a Nightmare on Elm Street in the movie theater. There's just not a point for me to do it anymore. And
well, you're getting old.
That too, but I have a movie theater next to the Walmart 1,000 feet away that plays every movie. I've walked over there for movies with my kids and myself, but I really only feel like getting out there for really big spectacles these days. And I think the movie theaters that are going to survive are the ones that make it a more experience, whether you have like dinner served and alcohol served. The standard movie theater experience is kind of, it's, I don't know. It's going to be tough. And I know people are begging, but until you're not going to see movies released until New York, LA, Chicago, and Houston can all have people in theaters. Those 4 cities all have to be, because if a movie comes out and I'm just thinking like the newest Marvel movie, which is Black Widow, they've been pushing it back. They don't want to come out and only have 2 of those cities be able to see it. Sure. You're cutting, a huge portion of your money, and then it looks bad. Whether it's a good movie or not,
the revenues and the numbers
will look bad.
Won't be...
and they're, but I don't know.
But at the same time, I feel like you can throw out almost anything. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the year of COVID. I'm not sure that there's any fair comparisons that you could be making, but
I agree. JV, did you see the Blair Witch in the theater? I did not. We watched the Blair Witch together, actually, Terry, in our apartment on Kramer.
Really?
Yeah, we all sat in our living room. It was you and me, and I don't think PSAT was there. Maybe Corey was there, our friend Corey Skolmowski, and then a few girls from around the neighborhood. This was college, so we lived around a lot of people.
Well, J-Lo from down the block, she was there.
It might have been J-Lo.
Actually, not J-Lo.
Not J-Lo.
Thinking of the real J-Lo, but there was a J-Lo.
And we watched it with a couple other people. I remember specifically sitting there.
It's funny because I like so many other things, usually the hype comes and goes, and then maybe I decide if I want to get on board with it. And I feel like the hype had come and gone already on that before I finally saw it for the first time. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of people talking about it, and it was a big deal. And I was probably watching it on a VHS actually at the time, because that's how much
I'm sure
emphasis that I put on it. Yeah, it would have had to have been a VHS, because that would have been 98, 99.
It still would have probably been a DVD. Not a Blu-ray, but a DVD.
I don't think so, because I bought my first DVD player when I had moved on to Oakland, and that was a big deal to be purchasing a DVD player, and that was like 2000, 2001. So if we watched Blair Witch, it was not on a DVD. Yeah. I guarantee you that.
Maybe it was a VHS then.
Yeah. Wow. This is how old we are, people. Just so you know. And there's plenty of people out there that I'm sure can relate. All right. You can't watch new release stuff on Amazon Video for $6 to $10.
Correct. You have to go to a Redbox or something to get those still.
Well, I think he's maybe he or she is referencing what you had said about, because what was the movie that you streamed, the blockbuster a big time movie that you streamed a few months ago? Oh, that was a kids movie.
The Trolls movie.
Okay, yeah. And what was that? 39 or 29?
20 or $30.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was one of those things like, cool, I was happy to do that.
Yeah.
Because I would have paid that in ticket prices and food and everything to go to the theaters to see it, and I could just sit with my kids. And I don't have to worry if my kid decides to have a meltdown or wants to get up to go to the bathroom. I can just pause it. For kids movies, I will take a at-home experience 100% of the time. For big blockbuster movies, I still prefer to go to the theater, but I'll tell you what, that theater better have a restaurant, because if I go, I like to go get food there, go sit in my thing. A couple drinks would be nice as well. It has to be a full-fledged.
You got to be able to go bowling afterwards.
Maybe some laser tags.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with the new place that opened here in Milwaukee? And I think it's worth bringing up because I think it is a national chain. It's called It's like an indoor park of bumper cars and maybe some ropes types courses.
Is that like the Twist or something?
It's in Waukesha. It's right off of Gerke's Corners, and it used to be the old Gander Mountain.
No.
Anyway, now it's going to drive me crazy. I was just reading an article on it. It looks like just an indoor fun zone.
Sure.
Type atmosphere. I think it may or may not be like a Disney-ish.
That's got to suck right now.
And they literally just opened, I think, this last weekend.
Oh, really?
And
I know
maybe
the
main investor used to work for Disney. I think maybe that's the connection. And they're around the country. I'm sure somebody can chime in and let me know what it was. But I'd be interested to see how those take off.
It's going to be different because I know I got an email from, I don't know, like a jump zone or something, or a bounce thing, whatever, saying, hey, we're allowing people back in at, X capacity. You have to have a reservation, and, we're doing it in shifts or something, so we can sterilize every couple hours or whatever. And then, I'm still personally not, I don't feel comfortable going, but
I'd like to get you into Monkey Joe's. Urban Air Adventure Park. And
Christopher Walton nailed it right there.
Okay. Oh, thank you. I found it on the website. 66,550 square feet, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be interested to see how that place does here in Wisconsin. Of course, they talk about all the things that you can do and that people will be able to go there in summer and in winter and have all these activities to do. Slam dunk zone and roller coaster type stuff, drop zones. Sounds like a kind of indoor amusement park of sorts, and just opened up here in Milwaukee. I'll be interested to see how it goes.
Probably not well.
I mean, if you want to get your COVID early, just go over there.
Someone says every theater allows 5 to 10 bottles of airline shots from his experience, which is funny. We got
depends on the size of purse you have, Ray.
That's true. We ordered from one of our favorite Mexican restaurants this past week, and my wife got 2 margaritas, and they basically just give you the margarita mix and then little bottles of alcohol. And I was like, well, that's weird. What? And I was like, oh yeah, because you have to drive with them. It makes sense that they can't just put them in there and go. And I was like, oh yeah, all right.
That's what potholes are for. You go over those. That helps mix the drinks.
Mix the drink up. Yeah, so I got to mix our own margaritas. Still delicious.
Wes, I'll answer for him. Have you ever puked in a theater, wasted Johnny V? No, Johnny V has not, nor have I. I'd go as far as saying, again, Johnny and I, neither of us are hardcore drinkers, but I'd go as far as saying I've never even been remotely tipsy inside a movie theater. Never. I
don't think I have either. I've drank in movie theaters, whether it's just like as an adult, actually ordering and sneaking alcohol in as an adult.
Wow. Badass. I know. You naughty boy, Johnny.
Oh, I know. But no, never like to the point where I was drunk or tipsy. I don't think so, at least.
Wow. Sure not. I don't know who you've been hanging out with.
That's yeah.
What's the sex move in a theater? Wes asks.
It's got to be the popcorn move, right? From the classic from the movie. I think it's Diner.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only one you can go with.
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna leave it at.
I don't think I want to.
He said it's called something. I don't remember. I just
Disc Golf Comedy asks, "What's your smallest fear?"
I have a dumb fear.
Well, yeah, you got a few of those. Yeah. What is it?
Dropping my keys. I think I may have told you this. Dropping my keys down a sewer grate. Like over them, and whether they're in my hand or in my pocket, like all I think at some point is I'm going to somehow just be fiddling with them because I'm a fidgeter in general, and I'm going to drop them down a sewer grate, and then I'm going to see them, and I'm not going to be able to get them. Like it's nothing that keeps me up at night, but I think about it every time I walk over one or anything like that. That's got to be like my smallest, least
like most obscure
fear.
Which is funny because just the other day on my Facebook feed, it's like your fear somehow infiltrated my Facebook feed. I saw it was like a not a mesh, but like a grate of sorts, or like it almost seemed like a colander of sorts that would get put under a sewer grate. And so it would catch stuff, just like you're saying. And so as if you could lift up the sewer grate. And then I think, well, how is that not just going to get clogged up if there's, leaves or debris that go through the sewer grate and then there's a much finer, much finer mesh or whatever. But it perfectly speaks to your fear. And I thought, yeah, how are leaves not just going to block that thing up? But that would... Maybe you just need to carry one of those around with you.
Clearly, I do.
Have someone run ahead of you wherever you're going and be like, "Hey, go put this thing right under the sewer grate."
And maybe that's a deep subconscious from watching it. When I was a kid, the whole sewer thing. But I'm not scared of clowns. I'm not scared of actually getting in there. I'm just scared I'm going to drop my keys and lose them. So
okay.
I don't know.
Dan asks, are you going to the GLO? Yes, I am, Dan. I will be heading over to there on Thursday.
Oh, Tukeen does nail it. The keys down the elevator shaft as well. Like the tiny little hole. I was an RA at UW Milwaukee, and every once in a great while, someone would drop something down there, whether it was a paper or like their ID, and you could go down to the bottom of the shaft.
Yeah, which I was never down there.
Yeah, I know.
At the very basement of wherever the elevator shaft is?
Yeah.
That looks like that'd be probably a fun place to visit.
Yep.
Huh. Yeah, I was trying to think of the basement of our dorm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
They really went down to the parking structure, I believe.
Yeah, okay.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm not thinking of where that actually ended. But I did have an interesting, I don't know if I wouldn't call it an ongoing fear, but I did have a dream the other night, which was that I went to a course for a tournament. I arrived at the course and I was out there practicing the holes and getting ready, and it was the morning of the tournament, and I was practicing the holes, and somehow you were involved. I don't know if I was talking to you or you were there or whatever.
You took my bag?
And I had thrown a whole bunch of shots on some holes, was getting ready, and all of a sudden they blew 2 minutes. And it was quicker than I had anticipated. The time had, I didn't realize it was that close to already being that time. And I had to round up the couple of discs that I had, plus then I couldn't find one of the discs that I really liked. And I was searching, and I just flat out couldn't find it. And I was getting so mad. They blew the 2 minutes, and wherever I had to be was on the other side of the course.
Oh.
And by the time that I was going to get the disc and round up everything and then get over to there, I either had or was going to miss 2 holes.
Wow, that's a big course.
And I was, or I was just far away from that particular hole. That was my starting hole.
Still,
is really what it was. And because I had only 2 minutes, so
But you said you're going to miss 2 holes.
Well, yeah, at least miss the tee off for the second hole. But yeah, you're right. Somehow it came about that, and all I kept thinking is, I'm 8 over. F it. I'm not playing. I'm not going to start the tournament because it was on a deuce or die course, and I thought I'm not starting this tournament 8 over par on a deuce or die course. Like, it'd be one thing if it were a really tough and challenging course, but this is a do or die course. If you're taking par plus 4 on these first 2, and I just said, F it, I'm not playing. And that was it.
Yeah. Is that the disc golfer equivalent of like showing up to school late or not being prepared for a test or yeah.
I don't know. It was very bizarre that and I can't remember now how you were involved. I don't know if I was
maybe as another
warming up with you or you were helping me search or something like that, but I remember you're there, and I just remember thinking, well, screw it. I'm not even going to play this round and go into the tournament or play the tournament.
Dreams.
Yeah, so I didn't even start the round because I was like, I'm not starting 8 over. So yeah, and so is that a small fear? I'm not sure, but possibly disc golf comedy.
Up on the board says JVD was an RA, the most believable thing I've heard all day. I was a horrible RA, like bad. There were lots of
not because of sketchy things, but because from a lack of caring. I mean, to be fair, I think
that sounds a little harsh, but yes.
I mean, you weren't like using your master key to visit people you shouldn't have been in the middle of the night. Nothing
nothing sketchy. Nothing sketchy. Just there were rules that we were supposed to follow that I broke.
Badass.
Drinking in public. We were allowed to have parties if you were of age, which I wasn't at the time. And and they didn't really care too much as long as you kind of kept it on the DL. But we knew some friends who lived off campus and went to, it's tough when you're in college and you go to a party and, they let you in for free and they give you drinks and, I don't want to overstate our coolness by any means, but we were relatively popular on campus at the time. And so doing that, you were not supposed to have any sort of relationships with any of your housemates or people that you were in charge of. I broke that rule a couple times.
So naughty. So naughty.
I
broke that rule for you too.
Yes, you did. There were expectations of upkeep as far as your house. They called them door decks, having like the names on everyone's door so everyone knew where they lived. I was not doing that. I'm not.
Yeah, you were mildly lazy or didn't fulfill all of your.
I did not fulfill
your RA duties.
A lot of the RA duties, and when you have some of your I don't want to call them students, but some of the people that live on your floor literally carry you home from a party because you passed out drunk. It's not
actually. They took him to the movie theater. Then he
dang. But I mean, I was good too, though. I mean, because there were things that you need to do. You need to be a very good listener, and there were times that you do. Like your kids get homesick, and you're their support system, so they come to you and do all that fun stuff. And there were some avenues of the job I was very, very good at. But there were some that I were not.
You also helped a lot of people set up webcams in their room.
They didn't know, but yes.
Just click this button.
No, one thing that a lot of my residents asked me at the time, burn CDs for them.
Yeah.
Because at the time, someone would come and be like, oh, dude, so-and-so's got this CD. You've got a CD burner in your computer.
Yep.
Can I make a copy of this? And I was like, oh, fine, yeah. And I would sit and burn CDs. And at the time, that was like a 45-minute process.
Yeah.
It was almost as long. Like you sit there and you're like,
listening
it's like
to
a
it.
2x speed burner. You're like, oh, yeah, this used to take like an hour and a half. Now I'm down to 45 minutes. Like, God, I could burn anything.
Yes, again, dating ourselves, folks, as to burning CDs and that being cutting edge technology for sure.
That was
Cody asks, does DNF affect your rating? There's two forms of quote unquote DNFing. There is one is where you're awarded an 888. One is awarded where you're a 999. Basically, the difference is if you DNF and you do not let the tournament director know, or we'll say you're obviously doing it to get around your rating or the potential rating that you're going to get, then you would be penalized. And it's like 5 ratings points or something like that. A DNF because you ripped like Madeline, you sliced your hand open and you're not able to continue. That does not affect your rating in any way, shape, or form. Really, and this is just a general common courtesy, and so it's worth sharing with everybody. If you, for any reason, are either going to end your round early or you're not going to come back for a subsequent round, and that could be for the afternoon because you played in the morning. That could be you played 2 rounds on Saturday and you're not coming back on Sunday. Whatever the case is, always notify the tournament director because the worst thing you can do is that very next day is you're sitting in the last place, and the tournament director has put you on a card with 2 other players, so that is a threesome for that card, and then you don't show up unknowingly to unbeknownst to the tournament director. You don't show up. That twosome cannot play as just a twosome. Technically, they're gonna have to split up and scatter around. And you've just created an additional headache for the tournament director and for the players, and you created a little bit of chaos. So, or Saturday night, again, you're supposed to play Sunday morning. You're in 3rd place, and Saturday night you found that your that your grandmother has passed away and you're not going to be there on Sunday morning. Obviously, you have to do what you have to do. Understandable. Let the tournament director know. Send them a message. Call them. Text them. Whatever, and let them know and say, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to make the tee time, or I'm not going to be able to make the start tomorrow," and let them know that. It's now we'll go to the extreme opposite, and this has happened, and things of this nature have happened. You're on your 16th hole of the round. You've not been playing well. Things haven't been going your way. You're not enjoying yourself. You've probably been a dick to most of the people on your card, directly or indirectly. I'm just projecting a little there. But
Probably.
you maybe have done all that. And then you get to the 16th hole, and you're like, oh, it's going to be funny. This is an island hole. I'm going to throw, all of my drivers first, and then I'm going to throw all my putters, and you just don't care. And then at the end of the hole, when you would have taken a 19 or something stupid, or maybe it's not even an island hole, it's just a regular hole, you've four-putted because you thought it'd be funny, and then you pick up your disc, and you're like, all right, see you guys, I'm out. And you're intentionally not completing your 17th and 18th hole. Those are perfect scenarios for when you're going to get penalized, and it's going to go in the books a little differently than if you sliced your hand open and you told the tournament director you can't make it. So they've tried to make that distinction over the last few years. Sometimes
888 or is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So sometimes you can be a little more sly, and you're gonna conveniently
pull a hammy.
Yeah, it's something like that. Some people will try to cover it up, and some people just flat out don't. And that they tried to come up with a punishment for that scenario. But no matter what the reason is, if you cannot attend or finish a round or a tournament, always let the tournament director know. It creates so much more stress for everybody involved when all of a sudden, because then you're sitting around in the group. You're supposed to start at 1:00 in the afternoon, and the group's like, Joe, where's Joe? Our fourth person is Joe. Is Joe at the hole? Is Joe coming? Is he not? Like, it just creates so much more unneeded stress for everybody. So please don't do that. Don't pull a Joe, whatever that means. Okay. Hopefully that is a full-blown explanation for you. Chris says, don't want to not show up and have your card be able to tee off. Yeah, as I was just mentioning.
Or if you happen to be top of the bottom card or something, and it was your job to get the card, and your teammates are like, or your card mates are like, no, so-and-so's got the card, and then suddenly nobody shows up with the card. That's a pain too.
All of those things could come into that scenario.
Just a lot of inconvenience.
Don't be a Joe.
Don't be a
DNF.
Don't be a DNF. All right, Terry. I think we are at the 3-hour point.
Oh my gosh! So just 3 hours left to go. This is our halfway point.
This is our halfway point. This is our marathon.
I love it. Joe was supposed to grab the scorecard. All right, the heck, guys, we're gonna call it. We do appreciate you guys for tuning in, joining, following along, playing along with us, entertaining us. Hopefully, we did the same for you to some degree. Super excited about this weekend's DGLO. And being back with the Pro Tour and things being back to full speed on that with that regard and then some. So we're going to call it for Johnny V, myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, for all of our Patreon subscribers who we love more than most, along with everyone that also chimes in at any point on any message board to feed us a little question and additional entertainment. We appreciate and love you all. Ryan, I did visit your mom yesterday. We got that all cleared up. And we're going to see you next week when you guys step inside the Smashbox.
The creeper line.